Chapter 2277. Whoosh! Just as Murong Yu and the others were puzzled, a figure suddenly tore through the void and stepped out from afar, appearing in everyone's sight. It was an angel. It was a 26-winged angel, a Virtue Realm great angel. As soon as he appeared, his body flickered with a powerful aura that was not inferior to Han Zhao's. In other words, this great angel was at least a third-level Tao ancestor. Then, there was a problem. Was the origin of the Purple Phoenix universe damaged by him? What if he was heavily injured? Was he more powerful than Han Xiao? After all, Han Xiao and the origin of the Purple Phoenix universe have been fighting for half a day, but they were still unable to injure each other. This great angel had not even arrived, but he had already heavily injured the origin. It was obvious who was stronger. Haha, Han Xiao, long time no see. After this great angel appeared, he stood on the spot like a mountain and laughed loudly as he looked at Han Xiao from afar. Han Xiao had actually stopped attacking the Origin Youth after he was heavily injured by the origin of the Purple Phoenix universe. Although he could take his life while he was down, he was still very vigilant when this person heavily injured the Origin Youth. If he continued to attack the Origin Youth, he might also be heavily injured. So, he had already retracted part of his power to protect himself. Brian, what do you mean? Han Xiao obviously knew this great angel. However, the two of them did not seem to be friends, but enemies? Whether it was the great angel Brian or Han Zhao's reaction, they told Murong Yu and the others this. What do I mean? Didn't you see it? My target is naturally the origin of the Purple Phoenix universe. He, a newborn universe, actually has the power of the angel universe's origin. If it grows up, I'm afraid it won't be inferior to the angel universe's origin. The great angel Brian chuckled. Han Zhao's expression was a little gloomy. Before this, he had been eyeing the Purple Phoenix universe's origin for a long time. However, he had not been able to get his way. Now, he was betting everything. What he did not expect was that before he could succeed, the great angel Brian had already arrived. Brian, there's a first come, first served rule for everything. The Purple Phoenix universe's origin is a treasure that I've locked onto. Do you want to start a war with me? As he spoke, a powerful aura exploded from Han Zhao's body. A murderous aura. War? What do I have to fear? Archangel Brian took a step forward. A powerful aura exploded from his body as he confronted Han Xiao. Murong Yu discovered that Han Zhao's body was supported by the souls of all the Soul Clan cultivators. However, the Archangel's body also emitted the aura of the universe's origin. Clearly, the universe's origin had blessed her. Their strength should be about the same. However, could the blessing of the angel universe origin last for such a long distance? You control the origin of the angel universe? Han Zhao's expression changed when he saw Archangel Brian. He finally understood why Brian had been able to severely injure the origin of the Purple Phoenix universe with a single strike. The reason for that was because he was also using source energy attacks. Only this kind of attack could easily injure the opponent. Otherwise, even if Brian was 10 times stronger, he would not have been able to severely injure the Origin Youth in one fell swoop. No. Archangel Brian quickly shook his head in denial. Our angelic origin is a great and noble existence. How can I be qualified to refine or even control it? I'm just cooperating. Do you understand? I'm looking for food for it to make it even stronger. The benefit I get is that I can borrow its power at any time. Archangel Brian smiled slightly and looked very satisfied. He could borrow the power of the universe's origin at any time. He was in charge of finding food for the angel universe origin. Han Zhao's expression was very ugly. He already knew the reason. It was not Archangel Brian who attacked the Purple Phoenix universe origin. It was the angel universe origin behind him. The angel universe origin was already very powerful. If he devoured the Purple Phoenix universe origin, how powerful would he be? At that time, Brian, who could borrow the power of the angel universe origin, would become even stronger. It should not be a problem for him to easily defeat Han Xiao, right? Originally, their strength was about the same. Neither of them could do anything to the other. If the other party suddenly became stronger, it would be a tragedy. Therefore, Hun Shao would definitely not let Brian succeed. Moreover, the other party wanted to seize what he was determined to get, the Purple Phoenix universe origin. Kill! Hun Shao shouted and took the initiative to attack. He charged at Brian. Brian chuckled. He took a step forward and blasted a light of judgment at Hun Shao. He was originally a third-level Tao ancestor. Not long ago, he was recognized by the Angel Universe origin. He could borrow the power of the origin. He was even less afraid of Hun Shao. Therefore, the two third-level Tao ancestors fought in the origin space of the Purple Phoenix universe. Their power was overwhelming and murderous aura was bursting. These attacks could not cause any harm to the Purple Phoenix universe origin at all. Therefore, the Purple Phoenix universe origin was only healing and did not pay attention to these. After all, he also knew that he was in danger now. If there were only two cultivators, he would not be afraid. However, if there was another origin that was countless times more powerful than him targeting him, he would definitely end up in a tragic situation if he did not become stronger. This made Murong Yu and the others suffer. Their souls were controlled by Hun Shao. At this time, they had no freedom and could only be protected by Hun Shao. If Hun Shao was careless, they would be crushed by the aftermath of the third-level Tao ancestors' attack and then die. When the gods fought, the little ones suffered. This can't go on. Whether Hun Shao or Archangel Brian wins in the end, it won't benefit me. And now is the best opportunity. If I can get the recognition of the Purple Phoenix universe origin, I will have the ability to fight against the Angel's origin in the future. Murong Yu thought in his heart. Thousands of thoughts flashed through his mind quickly. The Purple Phoenix universe origin. I have seen the Angel universe origin. He is much stronger than you. Now that he has targeted you, you can't leave the Purple Phoenix universe. Therefore, your ending will be very tragic. If you can acknowledge me, I can help you improve your cultivation and even take you out of the Purple Phoenix universe. An extremely obscure soul aura spread out from Murong Yu's body and slowly rippled toward the Purple Phoenix universe origin that was sitting cross-legged on the ground in the distance and healing. The origin youth was still sitting cross-legged on the ground, expressionless. However, Murong Yu still saw his body tremble slightly. It meant that he had heard Murong Yu's words and knew how powerful he was. However, he did not pay attention to Murong Yu. It was good that he had a reaction. Murong Yu did not believe that he could really remain indifferent. Therefore, he made his move again. However, he did not attack the origin youth. Instead, he shook his memories of the Angel universe so that the origin youth could see the strength of the Angel universe origin. In particular, Murong Yu had taken advantage of the scene where the Angel cosmic origin had repelled the mysterious youth. Compared to the actions of the Angel universe origin, the increase in strength and rewards of the Purple Phoenix universe origin was simply child's play. In front of the Angel universe origin, the Purple Phoenix universe origin was like a child that could not withstand a single blow. However, because he was the same as the Angel universe origin, he was targeted by the Angel universe origin. He estimated that after devouring him, the Angel universe origin would become even more powerful. You are too weak. Even if I acknowledge you and even acknowledge you as my master, how can you guarantee that you can fight against the Angel universe origin? In the end, an obscure spiritual wave rippled into Murong Yu's soul space. With my potential, I am only in the selfless realm now, but I have the combat power of a high-level Tao Lord. Once I break through to the initial Tao realm, I can fight against the Tao ancestor. Moreover, even if I can't improve your cultivation, I can take you out of the Purple Phoenix universe origin. Murong Yu said in a deep voice. At the same time, he was secretly laughing in his heart. The Purple Phoenix universe origin's question had already begun to gradually enter Murong Yu's plan. As long as he continued to work hard, it would not be a problem for him to be acknowledged by the Purple Phoenix universe origin. Although the Purple Phoenix universe origin was extremely intelligent, in terms of intelligence, how could it compare to Murong Yu? I don't believe you. If you want me to believe you, you have to help me defeat these two Tao ancestors. especially that angel. It's best if you can kill him. I hate him very much. The Origin youth did not hide his feelings and directly said it. Uffed. Moronyu almost spat out a mouthful of blood. It was not difficult to ask him to kill 2 Dao masters, but to ask him to kill 2 Dao ancestors? Even if Hun Shao and the other Dao ancestors stood there and let him kill them, he might not be able to kill them. You're silent, which means you're lying to me. The Origin youth's mental fluctuations continued to ripple over. You think too highly of me. If I had that ability, would I still be in this situation now? Moronyu was speechless. That's true. You're too weak. How about this? I can lend you all my power first. I can even let you control the Purple Phoenix universe for a short period of time. You help me defeat them. How about it? The Origin youth said slowly. If I defeat them and you immediately turn hostile, I can't do anything to you. After all, he was not familiar with the Purple Phoenix universe origin. It was very likely that he would pull back after crossing the river. I'm a man of my word. It's up to you to believe it or not. Unless you acknowledge me as your master first. Moronyu began to negotiate with the Origin youth. It's impossible to acknowledge you as my master. The Origin youth would rather die than submit. No matter how Moronyu tried to persuade him, he was still firm in his decision. All right, you have to swear a chaos oath first. If you break the oath, you will be immediately obliterated by the chaos. Moronyu could only do so in the end. The Purple Phoenix universe origin was not an idiot. It would not directly subdue him. Chapter 2278. I, the origin of the Purple Phoenix universe, swear to the primal chaos that if Moronyu helps me defeat these 2 people in front of me, I will acknowledge Moronyu and be friends with Moronyu forever. If I violate the oath, I will be annihilated immediately and never reincarnate. Without any hesitation, the origin of the Purple Phoenix universe swore the Primal Chaos Oath. The Primal Chaos Oath should be effective. Otherwise, powerful existences would not easily swear the Primal Chaos Oath. Moreover, the origin of the Purple Phoenix universe had a solemn expression when it swore. Moronyu did not suspect anything when the origin of the Purple Phoenix universe swore the Primal Chaos Oath without any hesitation. After all, the origin of the Purple Phoenix universe also knew that it was full of danger now. If Moronyu did not help it, it was very likely that it would be refined by Hun Shao or devoured by the origin of the Angel universe. No matter what the outcome was, it was not what he wanted to see. Kid, I've already swore the Primal Chaos Oath. I can immediately acknowledge you now and let you temporarily control the Purple Phoenix universe. As it spoke, an inexplicable force had already been added to his body. His realm was still level 5 of the Selfless Realm, and his combat strength was still that of a high-level Dowlord. However, at this moment, Moronyu felt that he was unprecedentedly powerful. This was not his own strength, but the strength of an external force. Moronyu could clearly feel that as long as he was willing, he could borrow the power of the origin of the Purple Phoenix universe and borrow the power of the entire Purple Phoenix universe. As long as he was in the Purple Phoenix universe, he was almost invincible. Of course, this invincibility was relative. He was not truly invincible. Even now, although he had become countless times stronger than before, he still did not have the confidence to kill Hun Shao or Brian, not to mention the others who were even more powerful. People of the sacred universe, retreat. With a thought, Moronyu had already borrowed the power of the Purple Phoenix universe. Immediately, this power enveloped all the invaders of the sacred universe. Then, before they could react, Moronyu tore the void and teleported them all out of the Purple Phoenix universe. The sacred cosmos was Morongyu's hometown, so he didn't want a large number of cultivators from his hometown to die here. As for the cultivators of the Purple Phoenix universe, they would still become Morongyu's subjects in the future. Moronyu didn't want too many of them to die. Therefore, after briefly taking control of the Purple Phoenix cosmos, he stopped the war between the 2 sides. Seeing this scene, the Origin youth was clearly taken aback. He couldn't help but look at Moronyu in a new light. What Moronyu wanted to do was what he wanted to do. However, he was powerless to do so. He couldn't teleport the invaders out, let alone kill them. However, Murong Yu had only just gained control of the Purple Phoenix universe, yet he already knew how to use this power, and it was incomparably pure. What the Origin Youth did not know was that although Murong Yu had never controlled the origin of the universe, he had controlled the origin of many small worlds. He had a deep understanding of all of this. It could be said that he could do it with ease. After clearing the cultivators of the sacred cosmos out of the Purple Phoenix universe, Murong Yu controlled the origin power of the Purple Phoenix universe to cleanse the cultivators of the Purple Phoenix universe. He healed some of their injuries. Murong Yu's habitual action instantly made the cultivators of the Purple Phoenix universe feel very grateful to the origin of the Purple Phoenix universe. In a short time, it greatly increased the prestige of the Origin Youth. Originally, as the origin of a universe, every cultivator would more or less feel awe of the origin. However, it was only awe, and there was no respect in their hearts. This was because the origin was a high and mighty big shot. Now, the scene of Murong Yu healing their injuries made them feel a sense of familiarity with the origin. It made them feel that the origin was not high and mighty, but was right beside them. If they were injured, the origin would heal them. For a time, the Origin's prestige soared. The Origin Youth was greatly surprised by this. It turned out that the Origin could do this. Not long after, he nodded thoughtfully. How is it? Murong Yu smiled as he looked at the recovering Origin. Because he temporarily controlled the Purple Phoenix universe, Murong Yu did not need to use his spiritual force or mind to communicate with the Origin Youth. They could communicate directly, just like how he communicated with Hichu. I believe you have also gained a lot of benefits, right? The more united the people are, the better it will be for your strength to increase. Just like the angel universe, Murong Yu said slowly. The people of the angel universe were united, and they all believed in the origin of the angel universe. Therefore, the origin of the angel universe was so powerful. If the Purple Phoenix universe could achieve the same level as the angel universe, it would only be a matter of time before he reached the same height as the angel universe. The Origin Youth had no choice but to nod. He had also realized this. With my help in the future, it's only a matter of time before you increase your strength. Murong Yu smiled. As long as the Origin Youth stayed with him for a longer period of time, he would more likely recognize Murong Yu as his master. After everything was settled, the next target was Han Xiao and Brian. At this moment, the two of them were still fighting. Terrifying explosions continued to erupt, causing the space of the origin of the universe to explode. However, after they exploded, the Origin Youth immediately recovered. Therefore, even though they were fighting fiercely, they did not cause any damage to the Purple Phoenix universe. Murong Yu, that Archangel has part of the power of the angel universe's origin. If you can leave that power behind, it will be very beneficial for my recovery. Just as Murong Yu was thinking about how to attack, the Origin Youth's voice rang in Murong Yu's mind. Murong Yu did not say anything. He only nodded slightly. He was still under Han Zhao's control. Moreover, he did not want anyone to find out that he could temporarily control the Purple Phoenix universe. In that case, he could only make a move quietly. Looking at the two people fighting, Murong Yu secretly increased his strength. He wanted to suppress these two people in one fell swoop and blast them out of the Purple Phoenix universe. Bang! Bang! Suddenly, the two people in the battle were blasted away by each other. This is the moment. Murong Yu roared in his heart. Boom! Boom! Murong Yu directly blasted the power that had been raised to the extreme. Suddenly, two terrifying powers appeared out of thin air and violently blasted Han Xiao and Archangel Brian. Caught off guard, the two of them could not react at all. With a swoosh, Han Xiao was blasted out of the Purple Phoenix universe. This was Murong Yu's goal. It was impossible to kill Han Xiao now. He could only blast him out of the Purple Phoenix universe. When Han Xiao was blasted out of the universe, Archangel Brian, who was attacked at the same time, was not blasted out. Instead, he was frozen in place. It was not that he was stronger than Han Xiao and blocked Murong Yu's attack. Instead, Muron Yu deliberately used the binding power to trap him in place. Strip! Muron Yu attacked. He gathered all the power of the Purple Phoenix universe and suppressed Archangel Brian. He wanted to strip Brian of the Angel Universe's origin power. It would be best if he could kill Brian in one fell swoop. Explode! Brian roared angrily and threw out a punch. He wanted to blast away Muron Yu's attack. However, if he only relied on his own strength, how could he fight against the entire Purple Phoenix universe? Therefore, not only was his attack unable to blast away Muron Yu's attack, but it was also his attack. On the contrary, he was easily killed by Muron Yu. Boom! At this moment, the Angel Universe's origin finally attacked. The Angel Universe's origin transformed into a gigantic Archangel's sword and slashed out. Suppress. When the Angel Universe's origin attacked, the Origin Youth attacked as well. He took a step forward and appeared in front of Brian. He reached out his hand and grabbed the Archangel's sword that had been conjured. Boom! The Origin Youth was slashed deep into the ground. However, he still firmly grasped the Archangel's sword with both hands. The Angel Universe's origin was many times stronger than the Origin Youth. However, it was only a part of its strength. How could it be a match for Muron Yu and the Origin Youth when they joined forces? Devour. Although they were all origin powers, there were differences in strength. However, they couldn't stop the Origin Youth from devouring the Angel Universe's origin. The Origin Youth immediately began to devour the Origin Youth. At the same time, Muron Yu had also mobilized the power of the entire Purple Phoenix cosmos and was frantically killing Archangel Brian. How dare you? An angry roar came from afar. In the next moment, an even more powerful Angel Universe's origin power surged through space. It seemed that the Angel Universe's origin had transmitted its power to kill the Origin Youth. Kill Brian first. He's just a carrier. Once he's dead, the Angel Universe's origin won't be able to do anything to him, Muron Yu shouted. Of course, the Archangel Brian couldn't see all of this. The Origin Youth had also realized it. Therefore, he turned the Archangel's sword in his hand and slashed at the Archangel Brian with all his might. Brian was shocked. Even with the support of the Angel Universe's origin power, distant water couldn't put out a nearby fire. He was definitely not a match for the Origin Youth, who was suddenly at the peak of his strength. Moreover, he was also puzzled. Why did the Purple Phoenix Universe's origin suddenly become several times stronger? It didn't make any sense. Originally, he wanted to kill Han Xiao and then devour the Origin Youth. However, it seemed that it was impossible now. Whoosh! Although he was puzzled and shocked, Brian was not slow. He quickly retreated. At this time, Muron Yu felt the Angel Universe's anger. An even more powerful Angel Universe's origin power continued to blast through space. Boom! In the end, Muron Yu decided to lend Brian a hand and directly blast him out of the Purple Phoenix cosmos. Otherwise, if the Angel Universe's origin projected more Angel Universe's origin power, they wouldn't be a match for it. Chapter 2279. Outside the Purple Phoenix universe, in the Shattered Universe. Han Xiao stood there with an ugly expression. Behind him were hundreds of millions of cultivators from the Sacred Universe. What's going on? Why have they all been teleported out? The cultivators looked at each other in confusion. They wanted to know what was going on. However, no one knew, and no one dared to ask the gloomy Han Xiao. Otherwise, what if they became Han Xiao's punching bag? Who could stop a slap from him? As a third-level Dao ancestor, Han Xiao did not know what was going on. However, he had a rough idea. He had been attacked by the Purple Phoenix Universe's origin. Although it did not kill him, the ability to teleport him away was already quite heaven-defying. Should he go back now? Perhaps he could kill the Purple Phoenix Universe's origin while it was sick? Han Xiao, who was cautious by nature, was hesitant. There must be a reason for the Purple Phoenix Universe's sudden strength. Or was there someone who was secretly helping him? If that was the case, who was that person? If that person really did exist, would he be killed if he went back again? Most importantly, the Angel Universe's origin had its eyes on the Purple Phoenix Universe's origin. It was unrealistic for him to snatch the Purple Phoenix universe's origin in front of such a powerful enemy. Let's go back first. Hun Xiao shouted with a gloomy expression. He took the lead and flew toward the sacred universe. Although the others were full of doubts, no one asked. They could only follow Hun Xiao back. Among them were Murong Yu, Forefather Hun Yi, and the others. When Forefather Hun Xiao was teleported out, Murong Yu also teleported everyone, including him. Otherwise, if he stayed where he was, wouldn't Hun Xiao suspect him? However, after being teleported to the shattered universe, Murong Yu's original body quietly returned to the Purple Phoenix universe. The one beside Hun, he was only his avatar. Soon, Murong Yu entered Forefather Hun Yi's spatial treasure to cultivate in seclusion, using the excuse that he had gained a lot of enlightenment from the battle. This way, even Hun Xiao would not be able to sense that Murong Yu was different. When Hun Xiao gave up on seizing the Purple Phoenix universe's origin, Archangel Brian, who was on the other side of the Purple Phoenix universe, did not give up immediately. Before coming here, he'd promised the origin of the Angel universe that he'd seize the origin of the Purple Phoenix universe. Now that he had failed, even if the origin of the Angel universe wouldn't punish him. However, he had already broken his promise in front of the Angel universe origin. This was a very serious matter. He still needed to use the origin of the Angel universe to break through to a higher realm. If the other party did not trust him, then it would be impossible for him to even borrow the power. Therefore, he would not leave just like that. However, what infuriated him was that he had been teleported out of the Purple Phoenix cosmos. It had only been a few breaths. He could clearly see that the crystal walls of the Purple Phoenix universe were becoming thicker and thicker. From where he stood, he could have easily seen everything in the Purple Phoenix universe. But now, nothing could be seen. One could imagine that if he wanted to enter the Purple Phoenix universe, he would first have to break through these crystal walls. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to sneak in. Moreover, if he attacked these crystal walls, then the origin of the Purple Phoenix universe would immediately discover him and launch an attack on him. Even so, Brian still wanted to give it a try. Swoosh! With a step, he had already appeared near the crystal walls of the Purple Phoenix universe. Light of Judgment. Swoosh! Before the light of judgment hit the universe's crystal walls, a terrifying force descended from the sky and instantly locked onto Brian. It then ruthlessly bombarded him. At this moment, Brian's heart was suddenly enveloped by a strong sense of danger. Without hesitation, his figure flashed and disappeared from where he was. Boom! The moment he disappeared, a force tore apart the chaos where he was originally. If this attack landed on Brian, although it wouldn't be able to kill him, it wouldn't be a problem to injure him. Once he was injured, his combat strength would be affected. If things continued to develop, who knew what the outcome would be? However, Brian would definitely not give up so easily. With a step, he was already far away from this place. When he reappeared, he was on the other side of the universe's crystal walls. He began to attack again. Boom! However, before his attack landed, the attack from the Purple Phoenix universe had already slashed down. Brian didn't dare to directly resist, but in the end, he shifted away again. The third time, Brian was even more depressed this time. He had just approached the crystal walls of the Purple Phoenix universe, and the attack of the Purple Phoenix universe's origin had already landed. In other words, he couldn't attack the crystal walls at all, unless he attacked from a distance. However, the Purple Phoenix universe's origin could also easily snipe at long-range attacks. At the same time, it seemed that the Angel universe's origin was already disappointed in Brian and no longer lent him power. In the end, after trying many times, Brian left resentfully. He couldn't enter the Purple Phoenix universe at all, let alone refine the Purple Phoenix universe's origin. Purple Phoenix universe, origin space. Murong Yu shook his head. You're still too weak. If you can advance a few more levels, killing these third-level Dao ancestors will be a piece of cake. One day, I will reach this level. The Origin youth was as calm as an ancient well. If you didn't get my help, it would take an extremely long time for you to recover from your injuries. And to reach the realm, where you can easily kill third-level Tao ancestors, even dozens of reincarnations won't be able to do so, Moronyu said without any trace of politeness. The Origin Youth didn't speak. Moronyu was telling the truth. Moreover, this was because of his extraordinary talent. Ordinary origins, such as the sacred universe's origin and the divine universe's origin, couldn't reach the level of the Origin Youth in their lifetime. Moronyu looked at the Origin Youth with a calm expression. Now that the enemy has been driven away, shouldn't you fulfill your promise? After Brian retreated, Moronyu's temporary control of the Purple Phoenix universe had been taken back by the Origin Youth. Therefore, he didn't forget to remind the Origin Youth to acknowledge his identity. I can acknowledge you, and you can even be my spokesperson or messenger. As long as you're in the Purple Phoenix universe, you can borrow part of my power. And I can guarantee that as long as you're in the Purple Phoenix universe, no one can kill you. Of course, if the other party's strength exceeds my limit, then I'm really sorry. Moronyu rolled his eyes. The Origin Youth's promise really didn't have any sincerity, because there weren't even Tao ancestors in the Purple Phoenix universe. Otherwise, not long ago, the invaders of the sacred universe would have been killed by the Tao ancestors of the Purple Phoenix universe. Not to mention Tao ancestors, even Tao Initial, Tao Lord, and Tao Master level cultivators were extremely rare. In addition, the previous battle had caused the death of many Tao realm experts. With Moronyu's current strength, who below the Tao ancestor level could kill him. Therefore, the Origin Youth's promise didn't have any sincerity. I know what you want to say. Just give up. I'll never acknowledge you as my master. As if he knew what Moronyu was going to say, the Origin Youth spoke first before Moronyu could speak, stopping Moronyu from speaking. Okay. Moronyu also knew that it was impossible for the Origin Youth to acknowledge him as his master for the time being. This matter needed to be done slowly. In any case, he had enough time. Moreover, he had already established a friendship with the Origin Youth. In the Purple Phoenix universe, Moronyu was relatively safe. Even if a Tao ancestor wanted to kill him, he would be safe for the time being. By the way, can I move my force into your universe? You have to know that the more cultivators there are in a universe, the stronger they are, and the faster you can improve. Moronyu suddenly thought of this matter. If Shenzhen moved into the Purple Phoenix universe as a whole, it would at least be much safer than in the Sacred Universe. Welcome. The Purple Phoenix universe welcomes ambitious people to stay here. The Origin Youth didn't have any objections. In any case, Shenzhen coming in would only benefit him. Moronyu immediately beamed with joy. Moving Shenzhen here was not only because the Purple Phoenix universe was relatively safer, but the most important reason was that the heaven and earth origin energy here was somewhat similar to the sacred world. Shenzhen's disciples could absorb the heaven and earth origin energy here to cultivate. Of course, moving into the Purple Phoenix universe wasn't really safe. The origin of the Purple Phoenix universe had already been targeted by the origin of the Angel universe. Although he had temporarily given up attacking the origin of the Purple Phoenix universe, he definitely wouldn't give up. Attacks would come one after another, and he didn't know when they would come. It was even possible for the sacred cosmos to launch a large-scale invasion like this. However, Moronyu was determined to subdue the origin of the Purple Phoenix universe. Therefore, even if there were many risks, he had to move Shenzhen in. Besides, he was confident that he could turn the Purple Phoenix universe into a second Angel universe, or even surpass the Angel universe's origin. Okay, I'm going to heal. Do whatever you like, as long as it doesn't endanger my universe. You can do it. Although the Angel universe is more annoying, he still left a part of his origin power, which should be able to heal my injuries. The Origin Youth ordered him to leave. The origin power of the Angel universe he had obtained was the power that the Angel universe's origin had originally blessed Brian with. It was also the power that condensed the Archangel Sword. The Origin Youth had forcibly taken it away. However, he couldn't take away all the power that the Angel universe's origin had blessed Brian with. This made the Origin Youth feel a little regretful. Moronyu smiled faintly, then left the origin space and returned to the sacred universe. He was ready to move Shenzhen. However, How was he going to move Shenzhen silently without arousing suspicion? He also had to consider Murong Yu's intelligence. Chapter 2280. Before Murong Yu could think of a way to quietly move Shenzhen out, an order was sent down. Murong Yu had no choice but to go to the main hall of the Sacred Cosmos Alliance headquarters. On the way, Murong Yu had already learned about what had happened from Han Yi's clone. Originally, Han Xiao, the leader of the Sacred Cosmos Alliance, had been suppressing his anger after failing to seize the origin of the Purple Phoenix universe. These days, no one had dared to provoke him. However, just a day ago, they had learned that the experts of the Divine Cosmos were invading on a large scale. This was because they already knew that the army stationed in the Shattered Universe had been completely annihilated by the Sacred Cosmos. They were coming for revenge. Moreover, because the war with the Martial Dao Universe was in a stalemate, the Divine Cosmos was gradually losing patience. After all, the Martial Dao Universe was extremely powerful. It was becoming more and more unrealistic for the Divine Cosmos to attack and occupy the Martial Dao Universe in a short time. Therefore, the Divine Cosmos was ruthless this time. They directly sent more than 1/10 of their forces, wanting to destroy the Sacred Cosmos in one fell swoop. In the end, the Divine Cosmos would use the Sacred Cosmos as a backing and foundation before slowly plotting against the Martial Dao Universe. Gather all your subordinates. This time, not only will we destroy the invading enemies of the Divine Cosmos, but we will also destroy the Divine Cosmos in one fell swoop. Murong Yu had just entered the main hall of the Sacred Cosmos Alliance when Han Zhao's voice, which was filled with killing intent, was heard. Everyone looked at each other, but who dared to say anything? Although they were worried, Han Xiao had already given the order. If they did not obey, Han Xiao would probably slap them to death in a fit of anger. Therefore, one by one, they sent out their orders and began to mobilize their troops. In fact, the Sacred Cosmos was already in a special period of war. The various deputy leaders, elders, and deacons were constantly maintaining their troops. Therefore, after the order was given, the troops were quickly assembled. Especially after the failed attack on the Purple Phoenix universe, many soldiers were gathered in the Shattered Universe and had not returned to the Sacred Cosmos. Therefore, Murong Yu and the others did not need to do anything at all. 2 hours later, under the leadership of Han Xiao, the Sacred Cosmos Alliance's army of billions of cultivators launched a mighty attack. They went in the direction of the Divine Universe cultivators. With Han Xiao, a third-stage Dao ancestor, overseeing the rear, the morale of the Sacred Cosmos army could be said to be high and murderous. Soon, the two sides clashed in the Shattered Universe. Although the Divine Universe had sent out more than 1/10 of its troops, however, there weren't that many vanguard troops. Although the Sacred Cosmos Alliance didn't send out all their forces, their military strength was already more than 50%. Of course, this military strength referred to the military strength of True Self Realm and above. After all, in a battle between two universes, monks below the True Self Realm were not even qualified to be cannon fodder. It was the same for both the Saint Universe and the God Universe. Therefore, the lowest cultivation level of the Divine Universe's army was at the True Self Realm. However, the Divine Universe was much larger than the Saint Universe. Naturally, there were many more cultivators. Just the first mistake was already half of the Sacred Universe's military strength. Moreover, the people of the Divine Cosmos came with fury. As soon as the two sides came into contact, the most brutal battle began. There was no conspiracy, only a clash of swords and spears. Now that the Divine Universe had decided to attack the Sacred Universe, they would no longer confront the Sacred Universe. As for the Sacred Universe's side, they also knew the seriousness of the situation. If they didn't want to lose their home, they could only defeat all the enemies in the future or even kill them. Angry shouts and the sound of explosions rang out continuously. The terrifying power continued to shatter the void of the Shattered Universe. Even the dense death chi was greatly destroyed by the violent power. The world gradually cleared up, but there was still no chi of heaven and earth suitable for the monks of the sacred universe and the divine universe to absorb. And the cause of all this was the fall of countless cultivators, who were like grains of sand in the Ganges River. Broken limbs were everywhere, minced meat flew everywhere, and blood flowed like a river. As soon as they clashed, a large number of monks from both sides died, in the trillions. After every monk died, the blood that spilled on the ground formed rivers of blood that spread rapidly into the distance. Kill. As an elder-level big shot of the sacred universe, Murong Yu led the 10 deacons and their subordinates and charged valiantly at the forefront. The Hichu Lu Oshu transformed into a huge picture scroll that enveloped Shenzhen and all of Murong Yu's subordinates, protecting them firmly. The people under the Hichu Lu Oshu didn't have to worry about their own safety at all. They just kept unleashing their strongest power and bombarding the divine universe's army. This was simply a sharp knife, a great killing weapon. Wherever Murong Yu went, the cultivators of the divine cosmos would fall in droves. Under Murong Yu's command, even if they encountered a peak Tao Lord, they wouldn't be a match for them. At the moment, the number of great Tao realm experts following Murong Yu had exceeded 100 million. And these 100 million people all obeyed Murong Yu's orders. Under Murong Yu's command, the 100 million great Tao realm experts' strongest attacks locked onto a peak Tao master who was slaughtering near Murong Yu and the others. The peak Tao master sensed that something was wrong as soon as the power gathered. When he turned around and saw that the 100 million great Tao realm experts had locked onto him, his face instantly turned pale. Swoosh! The peak Tao Lord immediately retreated explosively. However, how could he make it in time? The 100 million great Tao realm experts' strongest attacks had already condensed into a torrent of power that crushed down. Although the peak Tao master's reaction speed was top-notch, it was already too late for him to escape. Thus, he stood on the spot with a ferocious expression on his face. He took out all kinds of Tao tools, which floated in the void above his head and protected him firmly. At the same time, his strength had been raised to its peak, and he was actually going to resist Murong Yu and the others head-on. Rumble. The torrent of power smashed down in an instant, and it instantly drowned the peak Tao master. When the dazzling glow of power vanished, only a bottomless pit remained on the spot, and the peak Tao master was nowhere to be seen. It was utterly impossible to resist unless it was a Tao ancestor expert. A Tao ancestor expert. Perhaps Murong Yu and the others were too dazzling, and they'd been targeted by a Tao ancestor. Swoosh! A figure appeared out of thin air in front of Murong Yu and the others. It was a middle-aged man with a cold and indifferent expression, and he emanated a domineering aura. It's a Tao ancestor expert. Someone in the crowd exclaimed with surprise. In an instant, most of them revealed solemn expressions, and there was even terror on their faces. Even if Murong Yu had peak Tao masters under his command, the gap between peak Tao masters and first-level Tao ancestors was extremely huge. They weren't on the same level at all. So, even though the Tao ancestor of the divine universe hadn't made a move yet, everyone was already terrified by his might. He's only a first-level Tao ancestor. Don't forget that we have Ancestor Hun Shao, a third-level Tao ancestor, holding down the fort behind us. Even though he's strong, he can't withstand a single slap from Ancestor Hun Shao. It's even to the extent that we can fight him. There's no need to be afraid. Listen to my orders. Lock onto the enemy Tao ancestor and kill him. Murong Yu's calm and wise voice resounded by everyone's ears. Perhaps Ancestor Hun Shao had given them confidence, or perhaps Murong Yu's calmness had infected them. As soon as Murong Yu finished speaking, even though everyone still had solemn expressions on their faces, there was no longer any fear on their faces. It was even to the extent that some people even revealed excited expressions. For example, Murong Xian, Zhang Ao, and the others. Attack! Kill him! Murong Yu shouted explosively. In an instant, hundreds of millions and trillions of cultivators below the Tao realm erupted with their strongest attacks. Immediately, a vast power rapidly condensed into an attack ocean above their heads. It collapsed the heavens and cracked the earth, shattering heaven and earth. It locked onto the Tao ancestor powerhouse in the divine universe and swiftly attacked him. Those below the Tao ancestor are all ants. I want you to see that in front of a Tao ancestor, numbers are not an advantage. Perhaps he really looked down on Murong Yu and the others joining forces. Or perhaps he wanted to establish his might in front of everyone and raise the morale of the divine universe's side. The first-level Tao ancestor just sneered disdainfully. He stretched out his right hand and grabbed at the ocean of power that was crashing down. He actually wanted to shatter the joint attack of Murong Yu and the others with one hand. At that moment, all of the people that saw this scene stopped their attacks and turned their gazes over. They all wanted to know whether those below the Tao ancestor were all ants or Tao ancestors were not invincible. Murong Yu also looked coldly at the first-level Tao ancestor in the divine universe, revealing a sneer on his face. In the time it took for a spark to fly off a flint, the ocean of power had already smashed down. At this moment, Murong Yu roared in his heart, 10,000 layers of soul waves. The 10,000 layers of soul waves was one of Murong Yu's most powerful attacks. It was extremely strong and extremely strange. Mixed in the power ocean, Murong Yu's purpose was to sneak attack the first-level Tao ancestor in the divine universe. Sure enough, the first-level Tao ancestor did not notice. However, the moment Murong Yu launched the attack, the other party still noticed. But it was already too late. Murong Yu's soul attack had already directly blasted into his soul space, quickly strangling his soul. The first-level Tao ancestor's expression changed, and he immediately withdrew more than 50% of his power to protect his soul. Although Murong Yu's soul attack was terrifying, under the other party's defense, it still could not break the other party's defense and bombard the other party's soul. But his purpose had been achieved. Without 50% of his power, how could the first-level Tao ancestor resist the attack of Murong Yu and the other hundreds of millions of practitioners? Chapter 2281. Bang! The first Heaven Tao ancestor of the divine universe was sent flying like a broken rag doll. He spurted blood wildly in the void, and blood splattered across the sky. Although the first Heaven Tao ancestor was powerful, there would only be such a day. Under the attack of trillions of Tao Ancestor Realm experts, he alone was not a match and would be injured. Tao Ancestor was not invincible. At least, the first Heaven Tao Ancestor was not. In fact, ordinary people did not know the trick in it. If it were not for Murong Yu's sudden soul attack, perhaps the other party could really block their joint attack. Unfortunately, except for a few observant people, no one found out that the first Heaven Tao ancestor had been tricked by Murong Yu. Kill. Seeing that the first Heaven Tao ancestor was sent flying by himself, Murong Yu's trillions of subordinates burst out with a roar one by one and began to attack again, wanting to kill the other party's Tao ancestor. However, Murong Yu did not have much hope. It was already quite lucky that this sneak attack could injure the other party. It was easy to injure the other party, but difficult to kill the other party. After all, if the first Heaven Tao ancestor intended to escape, his attacks could not lock him at all. The speed of the first Heaven Tao ancestor was too fast, far from what Murong Yu and others' attacks could catch up with. The reason why Murong Yu continued to attack was just to adapt to the situation. However, after the attack, Murong Yu was taken aback. Originally, the first Heaven Tao ancestor of the divine universe retreated quickly after being injured and sent flying. The speed was so fast that it even exceeded the capture of ordinary eyes. But just after Murong Yu and others took action, the other party's speed slowed down significantly. In a flash, the attacks of Murong Yu and others had already fallen on the first Heaven Tao ancestor. Bang! After a loud noise, the Tao ancestor was directly blasted into a cloud of blood mist and exploded above the firmament. Even Murong Yu saw that the other party's soul did not escape and was blasted into powder at the same time. A supreme existence at the level of Tao ancestor had fallen just like that. Both the sacred universe and the divine universe's people were stunned. Their faces were filled with shock, because they still couldn't believe that the Tao ancestor had actually perished just like that. However, the truth was right in front of them. That first-layer Tao ancestor had indeed perished. However, as the saying goes, seeing is believing. Even if they saw it with their own eyes, they didn't dare to believe it. Even Morong, you found it hard to believe. However, he was extremely intelligent and had already guessed some things. Although the first-tier Tao ancestor was injured, his speed was not greatly affected. At the very least, his speed wouldn't suddenly drop. The reason for the sudden drop in speed was definitely due to some kind of obstruction. If Morong you did not guess wrongly, it must have been Hun Xiao who attacked just now. Confusion was a third-stage Tao ancestor. He could easily crush a first-stage Tao ancestor with a single finger. He could only attack in the dark. He could definitely kill the other party's Tao ancestor expert quietly. The reason why he attacked at this time was to raise the morale of the Sacred Universe Alliance and suppress the Divine Universe's cultivator army to the greatest extent. Otherwise, the battle between the two sides would continue. A few days and nights, or even a few years, might not be enough. After all, although Hun Xiao was furious and had a belly full of anger, however, a third-stage Tao ancestor had his own pride. If the other party was a Tao ancestor expert, he might attack and kill. However, if the other party was below the Tao ancestor level, he almost didn't attack, because he disdained killing cultivators who were so much lower than him. Moreover, this didn't match his arrogant and noble life. Therefore, he needed to secretly kill a Tao ancestor to attack the morale of the Divine Universe's powerhouses and raise the morale of his own side. Under this situation, the victor would be decided very soon. Obviously, Hun Xiao had achieved his goal. The morale of the Sacred Universe's side was high, and their confidence skyrocketed. On the other hand, the Divine Universe's side was dejected as if their father had died. They didn't have the slightest desire to fight. Kill. Get rid of all these invaders. A great Tao realm expert bellowed. He quickly attacked and killed a Tao realm powerhouse of the Divine Universe who was in a daze. Even a Tao ancestor has been killed. We are even less of a match for them. Staying here is just waiting for death. Run. The morale of the Divine Universe's side collapsed. Immediately, some people began to flee. When there was a first, there was a second, and a third. Therefore, like monkeys scattering when the tree falls, all of them retreated frantically and fled for their lives. Haha, these damn invaders have escaped. Everyone kill them. Kill them all. Then, destroy the Divine Universe. The powerhouses of the Sacred Universe's side laughed loudly and began to chase. On one hand, they had raised their strength to the peak, but on the other hand, the people had no desire to fight, and no one even resisted. In that case, how could the Divine Universe resist the Sacred Universe's army of cultivators who were like wolves and tigers? In an instant, the Divine Universe's side fell into a one-sided massacre. As for Murongyu, he led his army and began to chase after them. Moreover, after cooperating, his subordinates had absolute trust in him. They followed his orders and acted. Wherever he went, no one was a match. In the end, the Divine Universe's vanguard troops were all killed. No one was able to escape. However, the team that killed the most people was led by Murongyu. Moreover, the first-level Tao ancestor was killed by Murongyu and the others. Therefore, the prestige of Murongyu and the others rose rapidly. When the Divine Universe's cultivators saw Murongyu and the others charging over, they were so scared that they fled. Not only the Divine Universe's side, but even the Sacred Universe's side, the prestige of Murongyu and the others rose a lot. After all, this team had the ability to kill a Tao ancestor. Who dared to provoke them? The vanguard troops were all wiped out, but there was still a large army of cultivators in the Divine Universe who entered the Broken Universe. According to what Hun Xiao had said, they should go all the way and eliminate these people as well, because their target was not only these people, but the entire Divine Universe. Hun Xiao wanted to destroy the entire universe. Moreover, Hun Xiao also promised that if a Tao ancestor-level powerhouse appeared, he would suppress them. The others relied on the Sacred Universe Alliance's deputy alliance leader, elders, deacons, and the others. Of course, during the meeting, Hun Shao praised Murongyu. He vaguely had the idea of taking Murongyu as his disciple. This naturally made people envious and jealous. But these were not things that they could be envious of. Who asked them not to kill a Dao ancestor powerhouse? Moreover, it was not enough to kill a Dao ancestor powerhouse. Perhaps they would need to have the same aptitude and talent as Murongyu. They even needed to be from the Soul Clan. Unfortunately, among the upper echelons of the Alliance, there were only 4 people from the Soul Clan. Other than Murongyu, Hun Shao, and Hun Yi, there was also an elder from the Soul Clan. Hun Shao was definitely not talking nonsense. Other than vaguely expressing that he wanted to take Murongyu as his disciple, he also gave a large number of rewards. There are all kinds of Dao Ancestor weapons and all kinds of Dao Ancestor level treasures. This naturally made the others jealous. However, it also intensified the thoughts of the others who wanted to contribute. Therefore, in the following battle, the deputy alliance leader, elders, and deacons worked very hard. Under their leadership, the army of cultivators from the divine universe was no match for them at all. They retreated step by step. In addition to these people working very hard, Hun Zhao's suppression of the other party's Dao Ancestor powerhouse was also very important. This time, the divine universe sent 2 Dao Ancestor powerhouses. This Dao Ancestor powerhouse was even more powerful and had already reached the 2nd level Dao Ancestor realm. However, he still could not escape the order of death. Under Hun Zhao's suppression, together with the trillions of cultivators under him, Murongyu once again killed that Dao Ancestor. He killed 2 Dao Ancestor powerhouses in a row. This caused Murongyu's prestige in the Sacred Universe Alliance to rapidly increase. He had already surpassed all the elders and reached the Deputy Alliance Leader level. In fact, the Deputy Alliance Leader's prestige in the Sacred Universe Alliance was far inferior to Murongyu's. If Murongyu said that he wanted to recruit disciples or attendants now, there would probably be a large number of cultivators who would come and join him, right? They would also benefit a lot from following a master with unlimited potential. Of course, Murongyu might have been lucky to be able to kill 1 Dao Ancestor powerhouse, but killing 2 Dao Ancestor powerhouses in a row might not be his strength. Ordinary people could not see the trick, but the Deputy Alliance Leader, elders, and deacons of the Alliance finally understood. It was just that Hun Shao was deliberately helping Murongyu. This made them sigh. With a good background, one could at least save half of one's life. 1 year. In just 1 year, the Sacred Universe's army was annihilated by the Divine Universe's army. In the end, less than 1 in 10,000 cultivators fled back to the Divine Universe in a panic. After resting in the Broken Universe for a month, Hun Shao led everyone directly to the Divine Universe to destroy the Divine Universe's nest. However, at this moment, an inexplicable sense of danger suddenly enveloped the hearts of all the cultivators of the Sacred Universe, and it lingered. Could it be that the powerhouses of the Divine Universe had arrived? Everyone was puzzled and puzzled. However, Murongyu did not think so. This sense of danger was more like a warning. It seemed like someone was warning them. Moreover, Murongyu vaguely felt that the source of the danger was in the Divine Universe. Could it be that there was some danger in the Sacred Universe? Murongyu's expression changed slightly, and he was about to use the Hichu Luoshu to teleport back. However, he received Hun Zhao's order, retreat. Retreat all the way back to the Sacred Universe at the fastest speed. This further intensified Murongyu's suspicions. At the same time that the order was given, Murongyu and many other higher-ups gathered together again. Damn, the Angel Universe. They actually attacked our universe while we were out in full force. Hun Zhao's furious voice rang out. His anger soared to the sky, and his killing intent soared. The Angel Universe attacked the Sacred Universe? Hearing this, everyone's expression instantly turned ugly. The Angel Universe was not something that the Divine Universe or even a Martial Dao Universe could compare to. It was a colossus. How could the Sacred Universe resist? Chapter 2282. It was a scene of devastation. Corpses were strewn all over the place. Origin stars were shattered. It was a complete mess. Everywhere they passed, there was no other smell other than the strong stench of blood. This was the scene in a certain starfield in the sacred universe. Although this starfield was at the edge of the sacred universe, it was usually very prosperous. The strength of the cultivators was also considered strong. There were countless cultivators. But now, there were no more cultivators except for Murong Yu and the others. Wherever the angels passed, the cultivators of the sacred universe were all wiped out. Damn angel! I will destroy the angel cosmos. A deacon growled. His face was livid with rage. This starfield was one of his forces. Now that it had suffered a devastating blow, it was a heavy blow to his forces. Furthermore, it was obvious that this scene had been caused earlier. Now, the angel army was no longer nearby. In addition to this starfield, there were many other nearby starfields that belonged to his forces. If he were to be swept away by the angels, he would probably become a loner. In fact, if the sacred universe could not resist the invasion of the angel universe, the entire angel universe would become like this. It would eventually become a barren land. Alliance Master, let's send out the troops. Kill these damn angels and make it impossible for them to return. The deacon looked at the Alliance Master, Ancestor Hun Xiao, with fire in his eyes. Hun Xiao's face did not look good. The sacred universe was his base camp. Although he had reached the third level of Tao Ancestor, he was still a peak existence in other universes. With his strength, he could be above tens of thousands of people in other universes, but this was not his universe. Moreover, if he did not stop the angel universe from invading the sacred universe, it would not be good for his temperament and cultivation. Although the angel universe was strong, he was a third-level Tao Ancestor. He had enough strength to resist the invasion. Therefore, in the end, he led Murong Yu and the others back to the Sacred Universe Alliance headquarters. At the same time, news from all over the place flooded in. The angel universe had invaded on a large scale this time, and they were serious. The angels were divided into 10 armies. Each army was led by a second-level Tao Ancestor. The subordinates led a large number of Tao Ancestor-level angels to attack. Everywhere they passed, not an inch of land was left. As for the third stage Tao Ancestor-level Archangel Brian of the angel universe, his whereabouts were unknown. I wonder if they are hiding in the dark? The more they knew, the uglier the faces of Murong Yu and the others became. Even if Brian didn't take action, the angel universe still had a large number of Tao Ancestor-level angels. These angels alone were enough to make the sacred universe unable to resist them. Besides Hun Xiao, who else could resist a Tao Ancestor expert? One must know that he was the only Tao Ancestor in the sacred universe. Compared to the angel universe, the saint universe was like a child who had just learned how to speak. How could they fight against the giant known as the angel universe? Even Murong Yu felt a chill in his heart. He had the urge to immediately move Shenzhen to the Purple Phoenix universe. No matter how many archangels come, I'll make sure they don't return. Hun Xiao growled with a murderous aura. He decided to kill these angels himself. As long as Brian didn't make a move, no matter how many archangels from the angel universe came, they wouldn't be a match for him. He was afraid that Brian would attack and hold him back. Then Murong Yu and the others would be harvested by the other archangels like wheat being harvested. Hun Xiao led a large army of cultivators and set off with a murderous aura. Rumble. However, before Hun Xiao could step out of the Sacred Universe Alliance's gate, a loud noise came from the side. At the same time, an aura that made one's soul tremble kept coming. Although it was obscure, it was very powerful. At the same time, many message talismans flew over as if they were free. The giant universe is also attacking the sacred universe. What is it about our sacred universe that attracted them? Hun Zhao's expression changed drastically. Murong Yu and the others' hearts trembled. The giant universe was a behemoth similar to the angel universe. It was extremely powerful. They couldn't resist the angel universe. If the giant universe came, Would the sacred universe be destroyed? Murong Yu was fine. His heart only trembled, and he felt powerless. However, he still had the purple phoenix universe. Although he didn't want anything to happen to the sacred universe, if they really couldn't resist, he still had a way out. However, the others didn't have a way out. Therefore, their expressions were quite complicated, and they were even in despair. Even Han Zhao's expression was quite ugly. However, with his ability, he could leave the sacred universe. Therefore, he wasn't in despair. Strength. I'm still not strong enough. If I can break through to the initial Dao realm, I can fight against the Dao ancestor. I need a lot of power to break through. Murong Yu roared in his heart. Now that there was one more Dao ancestor, the sacred universe had a higher chance of winning. At the same time, Murong Yu began to urge his angel avatar to find a way to devour Gai's power as soon as possible. It would be best if great ancestor Han could break through to the Dao ancestor realm. Everyone looked at each other and then at Han Xiao. Now, they could only rely on Han Xiao. Han Xiao was silent. He couldn't make a decision at the moment. And the longer he delayed, the more sacred universe cultivators would be killed. At the same time, the subordinates that Murong Yu had brought with him also attacked. In an instant, the sky was shattered. Countless origin stars were destroyed. Although this small group of angels also had great Virtue Realm experts, there were also many great Virtue Realm experts among the people that Murong Yu had brought with him. This was especially so for Murong Yu. His combat strength had already reached the high-level Daolord level. Everywhere he passed, the angels fell. There was practically no one who could withstand a single blow from him. However, just because Murong Yu was powerful didn't mean that others were as powerful as him. In the battle, the cultivators that he had brought with him also fell. However, overall speaking, the angels' losses were even more disastrous. In the end, Murong Yu still annihilated this small group of angels. However, Murong Yu's side had also lost over 10 million people. This was a normal loss because Murong Yu's side had already killed no less than 10 billion people. Comparatively speaking, the sacred universe's losses were already relatively small. However, if they encountered the enemy's army or archangels, Murong Yu and the others would definitely not be able to return alive. Let's go back. After cleaning up the battlefield, Murong Yu led the group back to Shenzhen. After returning to Shenzhen, he didn't stay idle. Instead, he started to set up various formations within Shenzhen's territory. These formations could temporarily block the angels' attacks. At the same time, Murong Yu also started to move the entire Shenzhen. At the same time, Murong Yu also received news from all directions. After him, Han Xiao led the Sacred Universe's army and directly annihilated an army from the Angel Universe. He killed over 10 Daolord-level archangels. However, just as Han Xiao was about to annihilate the second army of angels, Brian suddenly appeared and entangled the Sacred Universe Alliance's army. Without Han Xiao, the Sacred Universe Alliance's army was simply unable to withstand a single blow. They suffered a devastating blow and were almost completely annihilated. In the end, it was Han Xiao who did his best to defeat Brian. He led the remaining experts of the Sacred Universe Alliance back to the Sacred Universe Alliance's headquarters and started to defend it. On the other side, the giant universe had no one to stop them. They rapidly advanced and destroyed countless star regions. Murong Yu also learned that in addition to the Angel Universe and Giant Universe, the Devil Universe and Yixia Universe's armies had also charged in. Chapter 2283. The Angel Universe, the Giant Universe, the Demon Universe, the Yixia Universe, the Mecha Universe. Almost overnight, all the universes Murong Yu had encountered in the Angel Universe had invaded the Sacred Universe. Powerful enemies were everywhere. What puzzled Murong Yu was that the Sacred Universe was just an ordinary universe. What was it about it that made those powerful universes coveted? They definitely wouldn't invade the Sacred Universe for no reason. Or perhaps they just wanted to destroy the Sacred Universe. After all, the Divine Universe and the Martial Universe were relatively close to the Sacred Universe. The other universes were far away from it. If that was the case, why would they still invade? Murong Yu was sure that the sacred universe had treasures that these powerful universes coveted. However, after a few days of killing, Murong Yu had killed many angels, but he didn't get any useful information from their memories. It seemed that the angels didn't know their purpose. They had only received orders from the church to invade and destroy the sacred universe. As more and more experts invaded the sacred universe, the destruction of the sacred universe was almost at hand. However, just as Murong Yu and the others were about to breathe a sigh of relief, these invaders weren't together. When they encountered each other, there would be a big battle. Because of this, the sacred universe avoided the fate of being wiped out quickly. Even so, it was only a matter of time before the sacred universe was destroyed. In just a few days, more than half of the sacred universe's star fields have been razed to the ground. Countless cultivators of the sacred universe have been killed and annihilated. Although the destruction of the sacred universe had been delayed a little because of the war between the universes, Murong Yu and the other natives of the sacred universe didn't relax because of this. However, Murong Yu was powerless at this point. Whether it was their peak strength or other aspects, Murong Yu couldn't contend with them. The only thing he could do now was to kill the angels near Shenzhen. If the sacred universe couldn't escape the fate of being destroyed, he could only take Shenzhen and the others and move to the Purple Phoenix universe. However, although Shenzhen was in the territory of the angel universe, there were no cultivators from other universes. Furthermore, it was usually only a small group of angels that appeared. As long as there were no Tao ancestor-level angels, no matter how many of them there were, they would not be a match for Murong Yu. Therefore, in the following period of time, Murong Yu led a group of experts under his command to engage in guerrilla warfare nearby. They continued to bombard the invading angels. There were simply too many angels coming over. Murong Yu devouring these angels unceasingly actually let him break through a minor realm, reaching level 6 selfless realm. His strength had increased by quite a bit, and he was one step closer to the initial Tao stage. Of course, the last few steps were extremely difficult to take. The higher one's cultivation level, the more power one would need, and the higher the grade. Right now, even if angels below the great Tao realm were to be engulfed, they would have almost no effect on Murong Yu. Perhaps it was because Murong Yu had killed too many angels and angered the strong ones among the angels. On this day, a large group of angels arrived majestically. Among them, there was even a Tao ancestor-level angel leading the group. It was very obvious that the purpose of this group of angels was to eliminate Murong Yu and Shenzhen. Holy Lord, what should we do? Those angels have already surrounded our entire Shenzhen, and they have spread the word that they want you to commit suicide. In the temple, everyone gathered together, looking at Murong Yu with grave expressions. Murong Yu's expression was somewhat ugly. He could not understand. Even in the angel universe, there were not many Tao ancestor-level great angels. Why would someone have the time to come over and kill him? What Murong Yu did not know was that because of his existence, the angel army had suffered heavy losses. Trillions of angels had been annihilated. Even if these angels were only the tip of the iceberg to the entire angel universe. But being attacked so many times by a mere selfless realm cultivator, how could the angel universe put down their face? Therefore, they decided to kill Murong Yu, this person who made them lose face. After these angels came over, they went straight to Shenzhen, directly surrounding Shenzhen. Moreover, they only surrounded but did not kill, only forcing Murong Yu to commit suicide. Want to psychologically attack Murong Yu? Murong Yu, if you don't commit suicide, then we will raise a starfield in a day. Those starfield's people all died because of you. Right at this moment, a sonorous voice penetrated Shenzhen's layers of array formations, sounding in the ears of Shenzhen and everyone. So despicable. These damned angels. They can't break through the great protective mountain array to enter here, so they want to force Holy Lord to commit suicide? Hearing that, Shenzhen and everyone were furious. one after another cursing the angels for being despicable. Murong sat upright on the main seat of the temple, his expression uncertain. To tell the truth, this plan of the angels just hit his weak spot. Not to mention that those people died because of him. Even if they didn't die because of him, he couldn't watch them get slaughtered by the angels without doing anything. Shenzhen has 1 billion starfields. All right, I've changed my mind. Murong, if you don't commit suicide, I will slaughter 100 of your starfields in 2 hours. How long will it take to raise 1 billion starfields to the ground? That voice sounded again. Despicable. Shameless. Many of Shenzhen's disciples cursed, all of them itching to rush out and kill these damned angels. Holy Lord, you absolutely can't commit suicide. In the temple, everyone looked nervously at Murong. They were afraid that Murong would really commit suicide in a moment of foolishness. Even if he commits suicide, these damned angels won't let our holy universe go, Zhang Ao said solemnly. Murong nodded. I know, but a great angel on the level of a Tao ancestor isn't someone we can fight against. Murong felt extremely helpless. Even if they lured the angels into the Purple Phoenix universe and used the universe's origin, they probably still wouldn't be able to kill them. In the past, Murong had temporarily taken control of the Purple Phoenix universe, but he still hadn't been able to kill Brian. However, Brian had been a third-level Tao ancestor at the time. He was billions of times more powerful than the great angel currently besieging the temple. Moreover, Murong hadn't yet broken through to the next level. Even if he had complete control of the Purple Phoenix universe, he would still be able to unleash different levels of power, depending on his individual battle prowess. The stronger one's battle prowess was, the more power one could unleash. I have no choice but to lure him into the Purple Phoenix universe. Thousands of thoughts flitted through Murong's mind. In the end, he decided to use this method to lure away the enemy's great angel. But how should he lure away the enemy's great angel? Didn't the angel want him to commit suicide? Then he would kill himself in front of him. A smile appeared on Murong's face. However, when he spoke of his idea, Murong Xian, Zhang Ao, and the others almost couldn't help but suppress Murong. How could Murong commit suicide? Even if it was just a fake suicide? If the other party saw through it and slapped him, how could Murong resist? I've made up my mind. It's a happy decision. After making the decision, Murong relaxed a little. As he spoke, Murong's body suddenly went limp. Then, he completely lost all signs of life. He had transferred his soul into the Hichu Luo Shu. Without a soul, his physical body was naturally dead. Send me out and come back immediately. Murong's voice rang in the ears of Murong Xian and the others. Murong Xian, Zhang Ao, and the others had no choice but to send Murong out. However, when Shenzhen's disciples saw Murong Xian carrying Murong's corpse out, the whole of Shenzhen boiled over. The Holy Lord committed suicide for others. The Holy Lord really committed suicide? Shenzhen's disciples were shocked and angry. They were shocked that Murong actually committed suicide. They were angry that all of this was forced by the angel. Their hatred for the angel soared to the heavens. After the shock and anger, they were a little sad. At the same time, they admired Murong even more. Murong was actually willing to commit suicide for people he didn't even know. Then, what about Shenzhen's disciples? Murong would definitely commit suicide for them. Perhaps he was the only Saint Lord like this in the entire world, and they were lucky enough to follow such a holy Lord. It was simply the greatest honor in their lives. Imperceptibly, Murong's image in their hearts became even greater. In their hearts, no one could surpass Murong. Bastards of the angel universe, the Holy Lord has committed suicide. Are you satisfied? A crack opened in Shenzhen's protective formation, and Murong Xian and Zhang Ao stepped out carrying Murong's corpse. Zhang Ao roared at the angel with a look of grief and indignation. This is Murong? Kid, don't try to fool us with a random person. A Downward-level angel stepped out and looked at Murong Xian and the others with contempt. However, When he saw Murong Yu's dead body, he couldn't help but reveal a look of shock and disdain. Presumably, he'd already recognized Murong Yu's identity. He was shocked because he didn't think that Murong Yu would actually commit suicide for those outsiders. He was disdainful because he thought Murong Yu was too stupid. What did the others have to do with him? He actually gave up his own life so that others could continue living. Scram, our Holy Lord's last wish is for your Archangel to personally confirm it. After confirming his identity, shouldn't you be able to leave? Zhang Ao suddenly roared. His face was ferocious and murderous. The Downlord level angel was startled, but then he flew into a rage. Although Zhang Ao was already a Downlord, there was still a huge gap between them. How dare he speak to him like that? He was simply courting death. The angel was furious. He took a step forward with murderous intent and reached out with his hand, about to attack Zhang Ao. Chapter 2284. Wait. Just as the 24-winged angel was about to kill Zhang Ao, a low voice came from behind him. Hearing this, the 24-winged angel's body trembled, and his violent attack immediately stopped. In the next moment, he lowered his head and stood to the side. In the angel universe, the hierarchy was clearly stricter than in any other universe. A 24-winged angel absolutely could not be presumptuous in front of an archangel, or else he would be killed mercilessly. Then, a figure stepped out from the distance and arrived not far in front of Murong Xian and Zhang Ao. It was a 26-winged angel, an archangel. My lord, the 24-winged angel bowed respectfully to the archangel. The archangel nodded and then looked at Murong Yu. This is the corpse of our holy master. He has already killed himself, as he was told. Retreat. As he spoke, Murong Xian's face showed hesitation. But in the end, he threw Murong Yu's corpse at the archangel. At the same time, he and Zhang Ao retreated rapidly. In fact, the two of them were only Dao Lords. In front of the archangel, there was nowhere to hide. The archangel could clearly see them retreating. Since you're here, don't go back. Stay here for me. The archangel gave the 24-winged angel a look. Then the 24-winged angel sneered, reached out a large hand, and grabbed Murong Xian and Zhang Ao in the air, wanting to kill them on the spot. At this moment, in the Hichu Luoshu on Murong Yu's body, Murong Yu's soul suddenly roared, "Purple Phoenix Universe Origin, strengthen me." Following his roar, a powerful force suddenly poured into his body. In an instant, Murong Yu's battle strength reached the Dao Ancestor Realm. At the same time, in the void between the Archangel and the 24-winged angel, a spatial rift that wasn't very large, but it was enough to accommodate a few people. A terrifying, devouring force erupted from the spatial rift, instantly enveloping the Archangel and the 24-winged angel. The 24-winged angel let out a startled cry and was immediately swallowed up by the spatial rift. With his strength, he was completely powerless to resist. He didn't even know what was going on when he was swallowed. However, an archangel was still an archangel and was very powerful. When he was being devoured, he had already reacted. He erupted with a powerful force to resist the devouring power of the spatial crack. For a moment, the spatial crack's devouring power was actually unable to swallow him. However, as the 24-winged angel was devoured, more of the devouring power was applied to the archangel. Break! The archangel roared and threw a punch at the spatial rift. He wanted to destroy it. 10,000 layered soul waves. Mantra of 9 words. At this time, Murong Yu had also launched an attack with the help of the spatial crack. The most powerful soul attack and the most powerful force attack were launched at the same time, both bombarding the archangel. At this time, with the support of the Purple Phoenix Universe's origin power, Murong Yu's battle strength had reached the Tao Ancestor Realm. He was almost on par with the archangel. Coupled with the terrifying and strange soul attack, it was enough to cause a devastating blow to the archangel. Therefore, the archangel didn't dare to be negligent. In a flash, the attack that was originally aimed at the spatial crack suddenly changed direction and blasted toward Murong Yu. Rumble, a terrifying shock wave, erupted and directly sent Murong Yu flying. However, the Archangel didn't gain any advantage. He was also sent flying. At this moment, the already terrifying, devouring power suddenly increased in strength. With a swish, the Archangel was swallowed up by the spatial crack. Huff! Murong Yu gasped for breath. Cold sweat broke out on his forehead because of nervousness. There was a look of relief on his face. Originally, after he'd launched his strongest attack, the origin energy that the Purple Phoenix Universe's origin power had provided him had been completely exhausted. Even though the Purple Phoenix Universe could transfer its origin energy to him from a distance across a universe. However, he wasn't as powerful as the Archangel's universe. So, the amount of energy that could be transferred from a distance was extremely limited. It could only allow Murong Yu to launch his strongest attack. In this aspect, he was even inferior to a Tao ancestor. Without the support of the Purple Phoenix Universe's origin energy, Murong Yu's battle strength had directly recovered to the Tao Lord realm. There was a world of difference between him and the Archangel. If the Archangel hadn't been teleported away in time, then he would have definitely died. Without any hesitation, Murong Yu took a step forward and followed closely behind the Archangel into the spatial crack. As Murong Yu disappeared, the spatial crack was swiftly annihilated as well. In the end, it disappeared into the boundless void. Meanwhile, Shenzhen and the Archangels finally reacted to what had happened. Shenzhen's side naturally cheered loudly, because not only had Murong Yu survived, he'd even tricked the Archangel. Now, the Hallowed Lord was probably thinking of a way to kill the Archangel, right? As for the Archangels, all of them had extremely unsightly expressions on their faces. However, none of them dared to make a move. Murong Yu had even tricked the Archangel, so who knew what other tricks he had up his sleeve? If they dare to make a move, then they might be tricked to death as well. Swoosh! 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 The Purple Phoenix Universe was separated from the Hallowed Universe by a shattered universe. Suddenly, a spatial crack tore open in space. After that, 3 figures swiftly shot out from the spatial crack. The first was a 24-winged archangel, the second was an archangel, and the last was naturally Murong Yu, who tricked the first two. As it turned out, Murong Yu had already communicated with the Purple Phoenix Universe's origin energy. He wanted to rely on the Purple Phoenix Universe's origin energy to kill the Archangel. However, the Archangel had to be in the Purple Phoenix Universe. Otherwise, Murong Yu wasn't confident. As a result, the previous scene occurred. Dying. As soon as Murong Yu appeared, he temporarily took control of the Purple Phoenix Universe and quickly added the power of the Purple Phoenix Universe to himself. At the same time, he unleashed his most powerful attack and attacked the 24-winged Archangel. How could the 24-winged Archangel be a match for Murong Yu? In the blink of an eye, his soul was erased by Murong Yu. Then, Murong Yu grabbed the 24-winged Archangel's corpse and threw it into the furnace of chaos. The furnace of chaos trembled violently. In less than a few breaths, the 24-winged Archangel had already turned into the purest energy and poured into Murong Yu's body. It became a part of his power and increased Murong Yu's cultivation. Murong Yu, so you're the one behind this. Seeing this, the Archangel's face became gloomy and murderous. However, he only stood in place and didn't move. This was because he realized that Murong Yu's strength had increased to a level that surpassed his own. When he attacked and killed the 24-winged Archangel, he didn't even have time to save him. This made his heart very heavy. He had seen Murong Yu's image many times. He had been blessed by the universe's origin. However, other than the angel universe's origin, which other universe could do this? The sacred universe? Although the sacred universe was said to be a peak universe in ancient times, it was the most powerful universe. However, it had long since declined. The origin of the sacred universe had already disappeared. How could it be blessed by Murong Yu? Murong Yu wasn't in a hurry to attack. Instead, he secretly accumulated power and asked in a deep voice, "Why did the angel universe invade the sacred universe?" He was very curious about why they invaded the sacred universe. Hearing this, the archangel had a mocking look on his face. The sacred universe has really declined. As a native of the sacred universe, you actually don't know the origin of the sacred universe? You actually don't know why we're here? Morong Yu's heart skipped a beat. He knew that these people must have their eyes on the sacred universe, but he didn't know what exactly they coveted. In ancient times, the sacred universe was the center of all the universes in the endless chaos. At that time, there were countless powerhouses in the sacred universe, and there were countless peerless powerhouses. It was the most powerful universe at that time. The archangel had a mocking look on his face as he answered Morong Yu's question. However, for some unknown reason, the sacred universe has declined. It's completely reduced to a passerby's universe. There's only one Tao ancestor powerhouse. It's really sad and lamentable. As for why we came to the sacred universe, you'll find out sooner or later. There's no harm in telling you now. We came here to refine the sacred universe. Even if the sacred universe's origin has disappeared, the sacred universe itself is equivalent to an extremely powerful magic treasure. If we can refine it, our strength will surpass the Tao ancestor realm and reach an even higher realm. At that time, who in the world will be our match? So that's how it is. Morong Yu was enlightened. However, was the sacred universe really so glorious in ancient times? Morong Yu was somewhat skeptical. The current sacred universe was really too weak. It was too different from the ancient times. Even if Morong Yu wanted to believe it, it was a little difficult. It's a pity that you natives don't know anything despite being in a treasure mountain. Die, kid. The archangel shook his head and sneered disdainfully. However, he suddenly attacked and blasted a punch at Morong Yu. At the same time, the archangel's figure shook and turned into a stream of light. He broke through the sky and fled into the distance. He wanted to leave this universe. In this universe, he was under the control of others everywhere. The situation was very unfavorable for him. Only by leaving this universe could he dominate all living beings and easily kill Morong Yu. However, Morong Yu sneered and dodged the archangel's attack in a flash. At the same time, he controlled the power of the Purple Phoenix universe and took a step forward. He appeared in front of the archangel and blasted out a punch. Chapter 2285. The archangel had no way to dodge at all. Morong Yu's attack was mixed with the might of heaven and earth. Before the fist came, the terrifying might of heaven and earth had already suppressed the archangel crazily, leaving him with no way to escape. He could only be forced to face Morong Yu's attack. Light of Judgment. The archangel furiously roared and immediately engaged in battle with Morong Yu. With a bang, the archangel was directly sent flying. Not only that, but his big hand was also directly shattered into pieces. Although he was an archangel of the Tao ancestor realm, he was not a match for Morong Yu, who controlled the entire universe in the Purple Phoenix universe. He could not withstand a single blow. After repelling the enemy with one move, Morong Yu found that it was not a problem to deal with a first-level Tao ancestor in the Purple Phoenix universe. However, a second-level Tao ancestor was thousands of times stronger than a first-level Tao ancestor. Morong Yu could feel that a second-level Tao ancestor was not someone he could kill, even in the Purple Phoenix universe. Moreover, even a first-level Tao ancestor would not be easy to kill the other party. However, this was exactly what Morong Yu needed. If it was too easy to kill the other party, all of this would seem to have no value. In itself, being able to fight 300 Tao ancestor powerhouses was already extremely beneficial to him. Since you're here, then don't go back. Stay here for me. Morong Yu returned the original words. He erupted with a powerful force and attacked quickly. The archangel roared again and again. Now he could not escape and could only be forced to fight with Morong Yu. At the same time, he knew deeply that if he could not defeat or even kill Morong Yu, he might die here. This was something he could not tolerate. Therefore, he also pounced forward, erupted with the most powerful force, and blasted out quickly. For a moment, It was difficult to tell who had the upper hand against Morongyu. The Archangel was worthy of being a supreme existence at the Tao ancestor level. Despite being suppressed in all sorts of ways, Morongyu was only capable of suppressing him. It was impossible to kill him in a short time. There were even a few times when the Archangel almost escaped. On the other hand, Morongyu had already raised his strength to the limit. Origin, lend me a hand. After fighting for half a day, Morongyu still couldn't kill the Archangel. He couldn't help but feel anxious. One must know that Murongyu's opponent wasn't just the Archangel. The entire Shenzhen was surrounded by countless angels. If it was just this Archangel, Morongyu would be able to fight him until the victor was decided. But now he couldn't. Moreover, after the battle, Morongyu had learned what he needed to learn and understood what he needed to comprehend. Morongyu, although you are my spokesperson, I have already given you all the help that I can. If you still can't kill this Archangel in the Purple Phoenix universe, then you can only let him go. The voice of the Purple Phoenix universe's origin sounded in Murongyu's ears. Morongyu rolled his eyes, but he also knew that the Purple Phoenix universe's origin was telling the truth. It had even lent him the origin's power and temporarily allowed him to control the Purple Phoenix universe. How could the origin help Morongyu? Then there's only one way now. Morongyu punched the Archangel. With a thought, the corpse of the Archangel that was originally in the Hichu Luoshu was transferred to the Primal Chaos Furnace. Primal Chaos Furnace, refine all of them for me. Morongyu roared in his heart. This Archangel's corpse was originally used by him for Shenzhen and the others to comprehend and cultivate. But now, he had to use it to improve his cultivation. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to kill the Archangel in front of him. Anyway, as long as his strength improved, he would have more opportunities to kill the Archangel. Rumble, Murongyu's current combat strength had also reached the Tao ancestor level. Therefore, he refined the Archangel's corpse without any effort at all. A large amount of pure power crazily poured into Murongyu's body like stormy waves, only to see his strength increase rapidly at a speed visible to the naked eye. Originally, his realm had already reached the 6th level of the Selfless Realm. After refining the Tao ancestor level Archangel's corpse, in just a few breaths of time, he already reached the peak of the 6th level of the Selfless Realm. However, this also consumed 50% of the Archangel's power. Now, after refining the Archangel's body, only half of the power was left. He needed to use this half of the power to break through the current realm and strive to reach the 7th level of the Selfless Realm in one fell swoop. Damn it! The Archangel clearly saw that Murongyu's aura and combat strength were increasing. He knew that Morongyu was forcibly increasing his realm. Once he broke through, he might be in for a tragedy. Therefore, he roared and launched an even more frenzied attack. Bang! Morongyu was originally fine with multitasking, but his opponent was the Archangel, who had extremely rich combat experience. Therefore, with a moment of carelessness, he was fiercely sent flying by the Archangel's punch. The power in Murongyu's body could not help but stagnate, and the power almost reversed. And once the power reversed, he would enter a state of chi deviation. If he entered chi deviation at this time, the outcome would definitely be tragic. Morongyu forcefully took a breath, trying hard to suppress the violent power in his body, and once again attacked the realm. At the same time, he swung his hands, and a series of powerful combat skills were constantly blasted out by him, blasting towards Morongyu. Bang! 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 Morongyu was distracted, and for a moment, he was actually not the Archangel's opponent. He was repeatedly blasted back, and the Archangel seemed to have the intention to let him enter chi deviation. The power of the Archangel constantly blasted into Murongyu's body, blasting his power endlessly like overturning rivers and seas. If this continued, Morongyu would not be able to break through at all. Even the power of the Archangel in his body was being severely depleted while being attacked. That damn bastard! Morongyu raged in his heart. The Archangel deliberately did not let him break through. Since the Archangel was so, he could only take the risk. Murong Yu's heart was ruthless. When the Archangel attacked again, Murong Yu no longer dodged or counterattacked, but forcibly endured it. Bang! The terrifying power crazily surged into Murong Yu's body like a stormy sea, and began to wreak havoc in his body. This was the Archangel's strongest attack. Therefore, Murong Yu's body was rapidly being torn apart at a speed visible to the naked eye. Murong Yu gritted his teeth, and his face was somewhat ferocious as he began to circulate all his power, guiding the power of the Archangel that had blasted into him, and combining it with the power of the Archangel that had been refined. He began to break through. Bang! Murong Yu's realm loosened a little, but there was still a long way to go before he could break through. And this time, he had used up even more power to break through. Come on, if you don't die today, then I die. However, you should be the one to die. Murong Yu took a step forward, locked onto the Archangel, and charged directly at him. The Archangel sneered. Since there was no way to escape from this universe, then the only way was to kill Murong Yu. Bang! 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 The crazy battle continued. This time, Murong Yu chose to directly engage in hand-to-hand combat. Not only did he directly hit the Archangel, but he also took all of the Archangel's power. The Archangel only thought that Murong Yu had gone crazy and was going all out. Therefore, he did not think much of it. On the contrary, he exploded with an even more powerful attack towards Murong Yu, wanting to kill him. Little did he know that Murong Yu was not risking his life at all. He just wanted to use his attack to break through. However, the consequence of taking all of the Archangel's attacks was that Murong Yu's physical body was quickly seriously injured. However, with the existence of the Tree of Life, these injuries were not considered injuries. The Tree of Life only scoured the body once, and Murong Yu's physical body had already recovered to its peak state. This made the Archangel feel very sullen, and even more so because of this, the Archangel never suspected that Murong Yu was using him to break through. After a day, Murong Yu's body had been blasted to smithereens countless times, and the Archangel was also almost angered to death by this sullen battle. Finally, when Murong Yu attacked the realm again, rumble, after attacking thousands, tens of thousands of times, the realm barrier was finally blasted open. At this moment, Murong Yu successfully stepped into the 7th level of Selfless Realm. This realm breakthrough was extremely difficult and very dangerous. If he was not careful, Murong Yu would die. Only he dared to be so crazy. If it were others, they would have been blasted to death by the Archangel long ago. Little bastard, are you playing with me? The moment after Murong Yu's realm, the Archangel understood everything. How was Murong Yu risking his life to fight with him? He was simply using him to break through the realm. That's right, I am playing with you. So what? Feeling the unprecedented power in his body, Murong Yu was in high spirits. I want you to die. The Archangel roared and attacked again. Before this, you are not my opponent? Now, go back. Murong Yu sneered. Taking a step out, he appeared directly in front of the Archangel and blasted out a punch. With a bang, the Archangel was directly sent flying. Moreover, this time he was sent flying was different from before. In the beginning, he was often sent flying by Murong Yu. But at that time, he was simply sent flying. Now, not only was he sent flying, but he was also directly seriously injured. Regardless of whether it was the physical body or the soul, it was shaken. Die for me. Murong Yu no longer showed mercy. A large hand reached out and slapped the Archangel to the ground with one palm. Although it was only a small realm breakthrough, Murong Yu's combat power soared by leaps and bounds. It increased more than 1,000 times, 10,000 times. The current Archangel was simply trash in front of him. Now, Murong Yu was even confident that he could contend with a second-level Tao ancestor. Of course, the premise was that he could temporarily control the Purple Phoenix universe. In terms of true strength, seeing a first-level Tao ancestor, he still had to flee as far as possible. Chapter 2286. The archangel was slapped until his entire body seemed to fall apart, vomiting blood crazily. However, Moronyu did not show mercy and directly captured him in a Hichu Luoshu and imprisoned him. However, although Hichu Luoshu was powerful, it could not exert much power because of Muronyu's own realm and strength. Only when in the Purple Phoenix universe, by borrowing the power of the Purple Phoenix universe, could Muronyu easily suppress the archangel. Once out of the Purple Phoenix universe, Muronyu could not suppress him at all. In the end, Muronyu still ruthlessly obliterated the archangel's soul. In this way, only a corpse was left. Could he still overturn the sky? The archangel fell. This was the first time that Muronyu personally killed a Tao ancestor-level supreme existence. Although he borrowed the power of the Purple Phoenix universe, he killed it personally after all. However, this did not make Muronyu extraordinarily proud of himself. After all, he was deeply aware of his true strength. Purple Phoenix Origin, thank you very much. Muronyu expressed his gratitude to the Origin Youth, then left the Purple Phoenix universe straight away and returned to Shenzhen. Realm had just broken through, and it was not suitable to continue devouring this archangel to improve Realm. In fact, the most important thing was that when breaking through from rank 6 to rank 7 of Selfless Realm, that archangel's power was barely enough. Now, to break through to rank 8 of Selfless Realm, then the power required was at least 100 times, 1,000 times more than before. Clearly, the power of a mere rank 1 Tao ancestor-level archangel was not enough for Muronyu to break through. At least 100 rank 1 Tao ancestor-level archangels were needed, or a rank 2 Tao ancestor-level archangel was enough. Swish! When he appeared again, Muronyu had already returned to Shenzhen. The moment they saw Muronyu appear, the entire Shenzhen cheered. And when Muronyu announced that he had killed the archangel and the 24-winged angel, everyone was even more incomparably excited. Why was he so agitated? Naturally, it was because Shenzhen also had a supreme existence at the Tao ancestor level. At least in terms of battle prowess, there were supreme existences who could kill Tao ancestors. This should be the second Tao ancestor in the sacred universe, right? The sacred universe was such a big place, and the second Tao ancestor was their sacred master. How could Shenzhen's disciples not be excited? Regarding this, Muronyu did not say anything. Now that they were surrounded by strong enemies, the ordinary disciples really needed a strong person to boost their morale. Murong, Xian, Zhang Ao, bring your troops. We will defeat the angels outside in one fell swoop and kill them all. Murongyu's immense divine sense covered the entire Shenzhen, and his deep voice resounded clearly in the ears of every Shenzhen's disciple. Kill the angels! Kill the damned invaders! We want to go too. Before Murongyu's voice fell, Shenzhen's disciples shouted loudly, and all of them fought to go out and kill the enemies. However, most of Shenzhen's disciples were below the true self realm. The lowest realm of the angels outside was at the true self realm. If Shenzhen's cultivators below the true self realm went out, they would only be courting death. How could Muronyu just watch them go to their deaths? Therefore, Muronyu could not let them go out to battle. However, as long as they had reached the true self realm, Muronyu still let them go out to battle. Perhaps, after this battle, many of them would not be able to come back alive. However, this was war, and this was the cruel world. They could not always be protected in Shenzhen. If they experienced too little, they would not achieve great things in the end. Sacred Master, let's all go out to battle too. Sun Yu and the rest of the 60 people walked over, their faces full of complicated expressions. Once upon a time, their strength was far higher than Murongyu's. They could even easily kill Muronyu with a finger, if Muronyu had not saved them. How could they be willing to become Murongyu's temporary slaves? However, how long had it been since they became slaves? Murongyu's combat strength had far surpassed theirs. Even the archangel had been killed by him. How heaven-defying was this? Now, they had no choice but to admit defeat. They were sincerely convinced. In fact, Even if Murong Yu continued to control their souls, they wouldn't care. Although they were Murong Yu's slaves in name, in reality, Murong Yu did not treat them as slaves at all. During their time in Shenzhen, they got along very well with many of Shenzhen's disciples. This made them feel that Shenzhen was indeed different from ordinary forces. This was a force full of vitality, and potential. If this continued, Shenzhen might even surpass the Spiritas and become the #1 force in the sacred universe. They might even break out of the sacred universe. Therefore, even if Murong Yu chased them away now, they would not leave no matter what. In this world, where else could there be a force that could compare to the Sage Sect? What other faction's leader could compare to Murong Yu? All right, you can all go out to battle. However, you must all come back. Angels are not worth our lives. Murong Yu's gaze swept across Sun Yu and the rest as he said in a low voice. With an order, Shenzhen's protective array opened. Murong Yu was the first to charge out of Shenzhen as a stream of light. Following closely behind him were Shenzhen's elites. Boom! Murong Yu's speed was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, he'd landed among the angels before they could even react. Spirit Storm, mantra of 9 syllables. He immediately used his most powerful move. Wherever the power of the soul passed, large numbers of angels perished. The primordial emperor, summoned by the mantra of 9 syllables, was even more ferocious. In a flash, he threw out 3 punches. Boom! 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 The primordial emperor's 3 punches landed in different places. Wherever the power passed, the void was directly annihilated. All the angels within the attack range were bombarded to the point that not even a speck of dust was left. In less than a breath's time, the number of angels that died under Murong Yu's attack had reached several million. Other than Murong Yu's powerful killing power, there was also the fact that the angels were too densely packed together. Your archangel has been killed. After killing several million angels, Murong Yu did not continue to attack. Instead, he rose into the air and hovered in the sky as he shouted. Hearing this, the hearts of all the angels trembled. They had seen Murong Yu, the archangel, and the 24-winged angel disappear with their own eyes. Now that Murong Yu had reappeared in their line of sight, the archangel had disappeared without a trace. Could it be that he was really dead? The angels were shocked. Some of them already believed Murong Yu's words. Murong Yu could even kill archangels, so what could they do? Some of the angels were terrified. They suddenly turned around and fled into the distance. Some began to flee. Following that, more and more angels began to flee. Basically, Murong Yu's shout had already destroyed the morale of the angels. At this time, many of Shenzhen's elites had already charged out. Kill! Kill these damned invaders! Everyone roared and unleashed their strongest attacks. They took out their most powerful origin tools and pounced forward. On one side, their morale was high. On the other side, their morale had fallen to rock bottom. They did not even have the will to fight. Naturally, the angels were reduced to being slaughtered. In every instant, millions or even tens of millions of angels died. However, compared to the countless angels, the number of fallen angels was just a drop in the ocean. Bang! Murong Yu slapped a 24-winged angel to death. This was an angel on the level of a Dao-Lord. However, it was only equivalent to a mid-level Dao-Lord. With Murong Yu's current strength, he could even fight a high-level Dao-Lord head-on. However, Murong Yu did not go after those high-level Dao-Lords. Instead, he continuously killed the Dao-Lords below the level of high-level Dao-Lords. Every time a Dao-Lord died, the losses on Shenzhen's side would be reduced by a little. Rumble, rumble, rumble. As a large number of angels were killed, numerous angel tears exploded out. These angel tears were different from ordinary angel energy. They could be directly consumed by others. In addition, the energy contained within these angel tears was not only powerful, but also pure. Thus, during the battle, Shenzhen's disciples were constantly experiencing breakthroughs. Of course, many of Shenzhen's disciples had died as well. Murong Yu and Shenzhen's higher-ups had already tried their best to protect these ordinary disciples. However, they were not omnipotent. They could only try their best to minimize the losses. Deaths were inevitable in war. In the end, the angel army had been killed by more than 1,000,000,000,000 angels. This was because the angel army had already fled Shenzhen's stellar region, and Murongyu had not continued to pursue them. Otherwise, Shenzhen would have had no problem killing a few trillion angels. However, Murongyu also knew the principle of not pursuing a cornered enemy and stopping while he was ahead. If the battle dragged on too long, Shenzhen would not gain any benefits at all. Although they had achieved such a great victory, Shenzhen's losses were not small. At least 100 million Shenzhen's disciples had died. This was 1/10,000th of the angel army's losses. However, Murongyu was already very satisfied with this result. This was because even though 100 million cultivators had perished, even more cultivators had achieved breakthroughs in their cultivation. The angel tears they had obtained were also very large. They could nurture even more powerful disciples. All in all, Shenzhen had profited greatly from this battle. However, Murongyu did not let the victory go to his head. He did not forget about moving the entire sect to the Purple Phoenix universe. Sacred Leader, what should we do next? Killing one archangel will probably attract even more archangels. With our Shenzhen, no, even our entire sacred universe is no match for them. In the sacred palace, Duan Muqing looked worried. What are you afraid of? We'll just deal with whatever comes our way. Killing one is enough. Killing two is a gain. Murongyu's disciple, Gu Kai, glared. He was not afraid at all. Chapter 2287. Murongyu couldn't help but feel speechless. His disciple's aptitude was top-notch, but he always looked a little silly. Sometimes it made people speechless. From now on, let's prepare to move. In the past few days, a few more powerful universes have invaded the sacred universe. With the power of our sacred universe, we can't resist at all. Murongyu's face was full of helplessness. Even with the backup plan of the Purple Phoenix universe, Murongyu didn't want to move. After all, the sacred universe was his hometown. However, the sacred universe was too weak. They only had one Tao ancestor powerhouse. How could they fight against the other universes? Currently, about 1/10 of the sacred universe's territory was still the sacred universe's. The other territories had already been divided up by the other universe's powerhouses. Moreover, the cultivators of the other universes were still constantly chasing after the cultivators of the sacred universe. It seemed that they wouldn't die in peace until they killed everyone in the sacred universe. If what the archangel said was correct, their goal should be the holy universe. However, was the sacred universe really the top universe in the ancient times? Was it that powerful? Murongyu didn't believe it. You guys can go to the Purple Phoenix universe. I'm not going anyway. I'm going to stay in the sacred universe and kill all the angels, Gu Kai said in a low, muffled voice, full of killing intent. Murongyu glared at Gu Kai again, speechless. Shut up. How many angels can you kill with your strength? Killing some true self-realm and selfless realm angels isn't a problem, Gu Kai said with an embarrassed smile, scratching his head. Sacred Master, bad news. A large number of angels have come to our Shenzhen. Now, they're rapidly approaching Shenzhen. Many of Shenzhen's star regions have been razed to the ground. At that moment, a disciple of the Shenzhen rushed in with a shocked expression. Everyone's expression suddenly changed, and only Gu Kai's face showed excitement. How many angels are there? How many Tao Realm angels are there? Murongyu asked calmly. There should be about 10 trillion angels. There are countless Tao Realm powerhouses. It was said that a second-level Tao Ancestor Realm Archangel had come with them, and there was more than one of them. Holy Lord, is our Shenzhen finished? The Shenzhen disciple looked at Murongyu in despair. An archangel at the second level of the Tao Ancestor Realm? The muscles on Murongyu's face couldn't help twitching. Previously, there was only one great angel, and Murongyu had to exert a lot of effort to kill him. Now, there were several great angels at the second stage of Tao Ancestor Realm. Murongyu couldn't kill him no matter what he did. The only thing he could do now was to move the entire Shenzhen into the Purple Phoenix universe before they attacked. In the Purple Phoenix universe, Murong Yu could rely on the power of the Purple Phoenix universe to contend against second-stage Dao ancestors. Moreover, Murong Yu had already retreated to the Purple Phoenix universe, so the angels wouldn't continue to pursue him, right? Gather everyone immediately. Sensing the seriousness of the matter, Murong Yu no longer hesitated. Murong Xian and the others didn't say anything else. They quickly left the temple and prepared to retreat. Holy Lord, the latest news is that the angels have stopped moving forward. A mysterious force has successfully repelled them and blocked them outside the Shenzhen star field. A second-level Dao Ancestor Realm Archangel was killed on the spot. Not long after, a disciple of Shenzhen who was in charge of intelligence rushed over excitedly. Ambushed. Even a second-level Dao Ancestor was killed? Who was so powerful? Murong Yu was shocked and immediately thought that the mysterious person was Han Xiao. However, Han Xiao was still holed up in the Alliance and hadn't come out. This was because the Angel Universe's third-level Dao ancestor, Brian, was guarding outside the Sacred Universe Alliance. Once Han Xiao appeared, he would be entangled and couldn't leave the Alliance at all. In addition to Brian, many third-level Dao ancestors from the Giant Universe, the Devil Universe, and the Ixia Universe were also entrenched outside the Alliance and surrounded the entire Sacred Universe Alliance. Fortunately, the Sacred Universe Alliance attracted the attention of most of the invaders. Otherwise, Murong Yu, a small Shenzhen, would have been wiped out long ago. Tell me the details of the situation. Murong Yu was shocked, but he still remained calm. There aren't many of them. There are only about 100 million of them. However, each of them is extremely powerful, especially their leader. The moment he appeared, he killed an archangel at the second realm of the Tao ancestor with his powerful strength. As for the origin of these people, we have no idea at all. They appeared very quickly and mysteriously. We don't even know where they came from, the disciple of Shenzhen explained. Could they be experts from other universes? However, why didn't they rescue the Sacred Universe Alliance, but our Shenzhen? If they were from other universes, why would they be so kind? Even if they were cultivators from this universe, they probably wouldn't be so kind. Murong Yu didn't know any other experts. Most importantly, Murong Yu didn't know that there were such powerful experts in the Sacred Universe. It's time to go and take a look. Murong Yu was both curious and vigilant. Therefore, he wanted to see who the other party was. With a thought, he left Shenzhen. When he reappeared, he was at the edge of Shenzhen's star field. Not far in front of him, there were about 100 million cultivators stationed on an origin star. From afar, the aura of these cultivators was like a surging river. It was very sharp. Further away, there was an endless army of angels. However, although there were trillions of them, they didn't dare to take half a step forward as if there was a thunderpool in front of them. Whoosh! Hiding his figure, Murong Yu appeared directly above the 100 million cultivators. These people all had powerful auras, but each of them was perfectly compatible with the Sacred Universe. They weren't like those angels and giants who seemed out of place in the Sacred Universe. Such a performance meant that they were cultivators of the Sacred Universe. However, they weren't ordinary cultivators, nor were they soul race cultivators. However, Murong Yu clearly saw that they all had special constitutions. They had the same constitution as the soul race. However, the soul race was different. They were all cultivators who cultivated the soul. There's actually such a mysterious force hidden in the Sacred Universe. Who exactly is it? Murong Yu thought in his heart as he landed. Among the 100 million cultivators, most of them were true self-realm and selfless realm cultivators. However, Great Dao realm experts also occupied about 1/10 of them. In other words, among these 100 million cultivators, there were about 10 million Great Dao realm cultivators. To the entire Sacred Universe, this number of Great Dao realm experts wasn't considered many. However, Murong Yu clearly sensed the aura of a few Dao ancestors. In fact, One of them had even reached the second-level Tao ancestor level. Wasn't there only one Tao ancestor in the sacred universe? Why were there a few here? Murong Yu felt strange at his heart. After carefully sensing for a moment, his expression suddenly changed. The aura emitted by the most powerful second stage, Tao ancestor, made him feel a sense of familiarity. Apart from Hun Shao, how could he know any other Tao ancestors? Could it be a Tao ancestor from another universe that he had seen in the angel universe? Back then, there were many second-level Tao ancestors. In order to verify his conjecture, Murong Yu concealed himself and slowly approached them. The strongest person was in the central tent. When Murong Yu approached, he saw that the door of the central tent was open. Other than the strongest person, there was no one else inside. There was an ordinary-looking young man sitting cross-legged in the central tent. He wasn't any Tao ancestor powerhouse that Murong Yu had seen in the angel universe. However, the moment he saw the young man, Murong Yu's figure couldn't help but tremble. And this trembling naturally revealed a flaw in his figure that was originally perfectly in the void of the sacred universe. The young man glanced over. Billions of stars were changing in his eyes, emitting a threatening light. Whoosh! Without saying anything, the young man directly attacked. He fiercely punched towards Murong Yu's location. Even though he still didn't see Murong Yu, he was sure that someone was hiding there. Fourth senior brother, Murong Yu's figure flashed and directly avoided the young man's attack. At the same time, he stepped into the central tent and revealed himself. The moment he saw Murong Yu, the young man's attack also stopped, and his face revealed a look of astonishment. Little junior brother, why are you here? Fourth senior brother, is it really you? You've been missing for a long time, but you've already reached the second-level Tao ancestor realm? This speed is really enviable. Murong Yu's eyes flashed with astonishment. This young man was none other than Murong Yu's fourth senior brother, Yu Yangjia. Yu Yangjia was ranked fourth among the 18 disciples of the infernal universe. Back then, when he was still in the sacred world, he suddenly heard that the Tao master of the infernal universe had died and disappeared. At that time, Yu Yangjia, who had yet to become a supremacy, left alone to search for the Tao master of the infernal universe. But he didn't expect that after he left, there would be no news of Yu Yangjia. Silently, even after Murong Yu became the ruler of the sacred world and even rushed out of the endless starry sky, there was still no news of Yu Yangjia. Although Yu Yangjia's soul jade slip hadn't shattered, there was still no news of him after so many years. Therefore, Murong Yu, Huyin Yinghao, and the others all believed that Yu Yangjia had died. Perhaps there was another reason why the soul jade slip hadn't shattered. However, what Murong Yu didn't expect was that Yu Yangjia would appear again at this critical moment. Moreover, his strength had risen to a level that Murong Yu and the others couldn't reach. Back then, where did Yu Yangjia go? What fortuitous encounter did Yu Yangjia have in these years? Also, did the Tao master of the infernal universe die? What was his true identity? These were all questions that had been hovering in Murong Yu's mind. Chapter 2288. Our master didn't die, and he's extremely powerful. Although there are people in this world who have the ability to kill him, there aren't many of them, Yu Yangjia said slowly to reassure Murong Yu. Moreover, this was before Murong Yu asked any questions. After all, Yu Yangjia felt the same way. Back then, he was also very eager to know if the Seamless Society's master had died. He didn't die. Murong Yu heaved a sigh of relief. Although he had never seen this master before, he had discovered many things related to the Seamless Society's master along the way. Therefore, he was actually more inclined to guess that the Seamless Society's master had not died. It was just that he had never obtained a definite answer. Back then, after I left the Holy World, I met Master's clansman. In the end, that expert took me away from the Holy World. With his ability, he definitely had the ability to take me away from the Holy World. Therefore, during this period of time, I have been cultivating. It wasn't until recently that I came out of seclusion. Naturally, my strength has reached the second-level Tao ancestor realm. Although our master seems to have disappeared, he has been paying attention to you all this time. After I came out of seclusion, he immediately asked me to bring his clansmen to rescue you. Therefore, you saw me. Yu Yangjia smiled as he explained why he came here. Murong Yu's heart warmed. He did not expect the Seamless Society's master to be so concerned about him. The Seamless Society's concern for Murong Yu made Murong Yu feel very warm. This was because he felt that the Seamless Society's master truly cared about him. He was not like old Yang Lin, who pretended to care about him, but actually wanted to take over his body. The Soul Clan's third-level Dao ancestor Hun Xiao also cared about Murong Yu. However, Murong Yu could not feel that kind of sincere concern. Perhaps Hun Xiao was really plotting against him? Of course, Hun Xiao could also be genuinely concerned about him. Who knew? Senior brother, what's the relationship between Master and the Seamless Society and his clansmen? The people you brought with you all seem to have special constitutions? I've never seen it before. Murong Yu threw out a lot of questions. Yu Yangjia smiled. I knew you would ask these questions. Yu Yangjia paused for a moment before he continued. The Seamless Sect is a faction founded by one of our master's clones. Before us, the Seamless Association was already one of the most powerful and ancient organizations in the Saints' world. It's just that at that time, other than us, were there no other seniors? Murong Yu nodded. The Infernal Order had been established for a long time. However, over the long period of time, there were still quite a few disciples. However, Murong Yu didn't find many of them. This is because, in the end, these disciples were led to the endless starry sky by Master's clansmen and lived in the territory of Master's clansmen. Some of the people I've brought with me today are seniors of our Seamless Society. Murong Yu nodded. So that was how it was. Although he still didn't know what kind of race was behind the Dao Master of the Seamless Underworld, he still didn't know. But it was definitely a mysterious and powerful race. How could he know the methods of such a force? The Seamless Association is also a force that can't be underestimated in the endless starry sky. Yu Yangjia continued. Murong Yu expressed his agreement. Yu Yangjia had already reached the second level of the Dao Ancestor Realm. Then, did any of the Seamless Association disciples before him reach the third level of the Dao Ancestor Realm? There should be. The third level of the Dao Ancestor Realm was already a peak existence in the universe. However, Yu Yangjia's next words completely shocked Murong Yu. However, in front of Master's clansmen, the Seamless Association is nothing. In my opinion, Master's clan is the strongest in the entire universe. The Soul Clan, the Fiend Clan, and the Giant Clan can't even withstand a single blow. Murong Yu was shocked. The Soul Clan only had one third-level Dao ancestor, Hun Xiao. However, the Fiend Clan and the Giant Clan probably had more than one third-level Dao ancestor realm. These powerful universes couldn't even withstand a single blow. Who was the Seamless Association's master? The Great Void Tribe, Yu Yangjia said word by word. Murong Yu was stunned. He had never heard of such a powerful clan. However, in his subconscious mind, he seemed to feel that this race seemed to be somewhat familiar. The Great Void Tribe isn't in the Saint Universe, but in the Great Void Universe. The Great Void Universe is one of the most powerful universes in the endless chaos. Our master, the Seamless Association's master, is actually the clan leader of the Great Void Tribe. Yu Yangjia finally revealed the identity of the Seamless Association's master. Murong Yu was stunned. Although he didn't know what kind of clan the Great Void Tribe was, he still felt that the Great Void Tribe was very powerful. As for the Seamless Association's master, or rather, the clan leader of the Great Void Tribe, he was even more powerful. Of course, no matter how powerful he was, he couldn't be a match for the 8 controllers. The controllers controlled the 8 most powerful Great Paths in the universe. They weren't people that the clan leader of the Great Void Tribe could fight against. Little junior brother, Master is very impressed with your performance. He wants me to tell you that you have to stay true to your heart. One day, you will reach the highest level. He believes in you, Yu Yangjia added. Murong Yu nodded. Becoming the controller of chaos was a goal that he had never changed. Oh yes, I have to tell you about the Saint Universe. Yu Yangjia's expression became serious. Murong Yu's heart sank. Seeing this, Yu Yangjia couldn't help but smile. He patted Murong Yu's shoulder and said, "Little junior brother, don't look so serious." The Saint Universe was the center of the universe in the ancient times. However, the origin of the Saint Universe is long gone. However, a Saint Universe without an origin isn't something that the angel universes, giant universes, and devil universes can refine. Don't worry. Angel universes and giant universes? Murong Yu couldn't help but roll his eyes. That kind of universe was a colossus, okay? Little junior brother, you have to open your eyes. That way you can see more things. From your current point of view, the angel universes and giant universes are already huge. However, when you look further and wider, you will only find that the angel universes and giant universes are just small fries in the endless universe. Yu Yangjia patted Murong Yu's shoulder and said slowly. Murong Yu's heart trembled. Yu Yangjia's words were very vague. However, he had already expressed two important messages. In the endless chaos, among the countless universes, the angel universes and giant universes weren't the most powerful. They were just small fries. In other words, in the endless universe, the third-level Tao ancestor wasn't the peak. There was a more powerful realm. There was a realm between the great virtue realm and the controller realm. What was that realm? Murong Yu was puzzled and quickly asked. However, Yu Yangjia shook his head and said, "Little junior brother, Master has told me that I can only help you guard Shenzhen. However, I can't interfere in other aspects. I can't reveal any more information to you. If you want to know, you can only rely on your ability. Even if you're being chased by a third-level Tao ancestor, I can't help you. As you can see, I am the strongest person here. However, I can't fight against a third-level Tao ancestor directly. If I'm not wrong, Master is training you." Murong Yu rolled his eyes. What did the patriarch of the Great Void Tribe mean? He wanted him to be in a treasure mountain, but he couldn't use everything in the mountain. However, Murong Yu also understood that this kind of training was the best for him. Otherwise, if he relied on the Great Void Tribe, wouldn't he lose his motivation to improve? Little junior brother, you don't have to be discouraged. Apart from not being able to help you directly, I can help you guard Shenzhen. Master also told me that if you can seize the sacred universe and even refine it, it will be very beneficial for you. If you can find the origin of the sacred universe, then you will restore the glory of the sacred universe as the top universe in the world and the center of all universes. I'll try my best. Murong Yu was a little embarrassed. His master thought too highly of him. He hadn't even reached the great virtue realm. How could he compete with the angel universe and the giant universe for the ownership of the sacred universe? However, the patriarch of the Great Void Tribe also said that the angel universe and the demon universe couldn't subdue the sacred universe. This was Murong Yu's opportunity. Murong Yu needed to continue improving his realm and strength. Apart from that, Master also gave you a method to refine an angel. This way, your clone might be able to break through to the Tao ancestor realm. As he spoke, Yu Yangjia sent a message into Murong Yu's mind. It was the method to refine Guy. Guy had already reached the peak of the third-level Tao ancestor realm. If Murong Yu could refine him and devour all of his cultivation, it might be possible for his Soul Clan clone to break through to the Tao ancestor realm. Although the Tao ancestor realm didn't seem to be valuable now, right? It was still very useful to Murong Yu. Haha, Master really knows me well. Senior brother, when you go back, please thank Master for me. Murong Yu laughed. He didn't want to go to the Great Void Tribe now. The patriarch of the Great Void Tribe didn't seem to want to let him enter the Great Void Tribe so early. This was to train Murong Yu. Murong Yu accepted it. However, I have one more request. Fourth senior brother, when you go back, can you bring senior brother Huyin Hao and the others back to the Great Void Tribe? Haha, junior brother. Even if you didn't ask, I would have taken them with me. The gap between them and the two of us is getting bigger. It's time to go to the Great Void Tribe and receive Master's special training. When he mentioned the special training, Yu Yangjia's eyes flashed with lingering fear. Chapter 2289. Even Yu Yangjia had a lingering fear in his heart. The special training of the Great Void Tribe Patriarch must have left a deep impression on them. At this moment, Murong Yu actually sympathized with Hu Yin Yinghao and the others. However, after the special training, their strength would definitely take a huge leap. At least, it wouldn't be as low as it was now. Murong Yu had never neglected them in Shenzhen. However, Shenzhen's resources were really limited. Even though their aptitude was amazing, they had only reached the Dao Lord realm. There was a certain gap between their combat strength and Murong Yu's, let alone Yu Yangjia, a second-level Dao ancestor. Fourth senior brother, why don't we go to Shenzhen now and give eldest senior brother and the others a surprise? Murong Yu asked Yu Yangjia. Yu Yangjia didn't say anything and just nodded. In the next moment, he and Murong Yu teleported back to Shenzhen through the Hichu Luo Shu. After not seeing each other for so many years, everyone was naturally very excited when they saw each other again. However, they didn't meet for long before Murong Yu took his leave. Now that he had obtained the method to refine Guy, it was time for his Soul Clan avatar to break through. Once Hun Yi broke through, he would be the first Dao ancestor in Shenzhen. Although his strength wasn't great, he could at least inspire people. In the Hichu Luo Shu, the sealed Guy's soul had been wiped out by Murong Yu. After all, he was a third-level Dao ancestor, so it wasn't easy to wipe out his soul. It took Murong Yu a long time to slowly wipe out Guy's soul. At this moment, Murong Yu's Soul Clan avatar was sitting cross-legged on the ground. Guy's energy corpse was placed not far in front of him. Strip. Old ancestor Hun Yi's power enveloped Guy's energy body. After silently cultivating and learning the method given to him by the Great Void Tribe Patriarch, he began to strip. The method wasn't difficult, and the principle was very simple. Deprive. He would strip Guy of his power, cultivation experience, and even his understanding of divine arts. Then, he would refine them and make them his own. However, even though this process seemed quite simple, there was no difficulty at all. But it wasn't that easy to do. First of all, due to the difference in strength between them, it would be extremely difficult for Murong Yu to extract Guy's power, understanding, and even abilities from his body. Just like now, he had continuously deprived over 10,000 times, and only then was he able to strip away a trace of cultivation comprehension. And after taking it away, he still had to refine it before he could take it back. In fact, this was also a huge and time-consuming project. However, the advantage of doing so was that he could take most of Guy's power, understanding, and abilities as his own. This would save him the time to cultivate. If he were to cultivate on his own, when would he be able to reach Guy's level of cultivation and ability? Moreover, whether or not he could reach Guy's level was still a question. Now, the method Murong Yu used was equivalent to the result of Guy's countless reincarnation cycles of cultivation. In the end, it was transferred to Murong Yu. It was simply taking advantage of others. It was no wonder that those archangels said that they could become a third-level Dao ancestor. With such a fast method, who couldn't become a third-level Dao ancestor quickly? Unfortunately, this method was only useful for angels, but it couldn't be used on others. Otherwise, Murong Yu could use this method to size up the Dao ancestor powerhouses. However, it seemed that there were many Dao ancestors who were angels. If he were to capture or kill the archangels, wouldn't Shenzhen be sizing up the Dao ancestor powerhouses? However, Murong Yu wouldn't size up the Dao ancestor in this way. After all, after devouring everything of an angel, there would be a characteristic of an angel. Murong Yu was a human after all. He wouldn't let himself or his people become people like angels. They didn't even have flesh and blood. They weren't human at all. As for Ancestor Han Yi, that was just Murong Yu's clone. Now that the situation was critical, and only this clone was suitable, he could only do this for now. Ancestor Han, he needed a long time to become a Dao ancestor. and Murong Yu wouldn't be of much help even if he continued to stay here. Therefore, he quickly left. But as he left, Murong Yu still activated Hichu Luoshu's time acceleration ability to the maximum. Only in this way could he reach the Dao Ancestor realm in the shortest time possible outside. Murong Yu found Yu Yangjia and asked mysteriously, "Fourth senior brother, are you interested in going on a killing spree in the angel camp?" His clone needed to increase his cultivation level, and his original body needed it even more. It would be best if he could kill a large number of Dao Ancestor level angels. You want to devour them to increase your power? Yu Yangjia immediately knew Murong Yu's plan. Murong Yu didn't intend to hide it. Instead, he openly admitted it. I need to kill a large number of Dao Ancestor level angels. However, I'm too weak to do it alone. I need your help, fourth senior brother. Murong Yu revealed his plan. Yu Yangjia was at the second level Dao Ancestor, and he was very powerful. With his help, he could achieve twice the result with half the effort. What's wrong with that? Yu Yangjia laughed loudly. Immediately, he entered Hichu Luoshu. In the next moment, Hichu Luoshu teleported and appeared in the Great Void Tribe army. As for Murong Yu, he concealed himself and stealthily arrived at the Angel Corps barracks with He-Tu and Luoshu. Without using divine telekinesis, Murong Yu only needed to see with his eyes to know where those powerful angels were. Like the human army, the angels' experts didn't gather together. Instead, they were stationed in different places. This was convenient for Murong Yu. Fourth senior brother, are you confident that you can quickly suppress a first-level Dao Ancestor? Murong Yu asked Yu Yangjia, who was in Hichu Luoshu, as he looked at a dazzling light not far ahead. I'm confident that I can defeat anyone below the second-level Dao Ancestor level, Yu Yangjia replied in a relaxed tone. In that case, let's kill that first-level Dao Ancestor level angel. Murong Yu laughed and immediately sneaked over. These angels were invaders. Even if he killed them all, Murong Yu wouldn't feel guilty at all. Unknowingly, Murong Yu had already sneaked into the camp. However, the first-level Dao Ancestor level angel didn't notice. Attack! Murong Yu roared in his heart. Yu Yangjia immediately attacked. The reason why Yu Yangjia was the only one attacking was that Murong Yu's realm and combat strength were far inferior to this great angel. Otherwise, he wouldn't have let Yu Yangjia attack. Although it was only a difference of one level, a second-level Dao Ancestor was countless times more powerful than a first-level Dao Ancestor. As soon as Yu Yangjia attacked, the first-level Dao Ancestor level angel was knocked unconscious by Yu Yangjia's punch before he could even react. He was directly sucked into Hichu Luoshu. Murong Yu didn't immediately refine this first-level Dao Ancestor level angel, nor did he immediately leave. Instead, he continued to wander within the army of angels and attack them. Below the Dao Ancestor level, Murong Yu didn't need Yu Yangjia to attack at all. Yu Yangjia was only in charge of setting up restrictions to prevent them from causing too much of a commotion and alarming the other angels. Murong Yu directly started fighting with the angels in the camp. Some were taken down directly, while others were taken down by Yu Yangjia after fighting for a long time without being taken down. A few days later, there were already several hundred Dao-level angels in Hichu Luoshu. In fact, there were even over a dozen Dao Ancestor-level angels. Of course, these angels were only first-level Dao Ancestors. Second-level Dao Ancestors were harder to capture. Therefore, Murong Yu didn't plan on attacking them. Damn it! On this day, Murong Yu and Yu Yangjia sneaked into a first-level Dao Ancestor-level angel's tent. However, before Murong Yu could attack, the first-level Dao Ancestor-level angel somehow discovered them. He immediately roared and attacked first, blasting a punch towards Murong Yu. If it was just Murong Yu alone, he definitely wouldn't be able to block this punch. He would be blasted away by this punch. However, Yu Yangjia attacked in time. With lightning speed, he quickly killed this first-level Dao Ancestor-level angel. However, because of the furious roar of the first-level Dao Ancestor-level angel, the entire army of angels was alarmed. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Numerous angels flew over from all directions, including the second-level Tao ancestor-level angel. Although Murong, you wanted to kill his way out of here, the consequences were hard to predict. Therefore, he threw the first-level Tao ancestor-level angel's corpse in a Hichu, Luoshu, and teleported out of the army of angels. Not long after, the army of angels began to stir. This was because they discovered that many Virtue Realm angels had disappeared in thin air, including more than a dozen first-level Tao ancestor-level angels. They must have been assassinated by the Saint Universe's experts. Killing so many angels without a sound made many of them feel a chill in their hearts. Therefore, in less than 2 hours, these angels retreated. Of course, they still didn't leave Shenzhen. Instead, they stopped after being separated by many galaxies. Murong Yu didn't have time to care about this. He handed these angels over to Yu Yangjia, with Yu Yangjia guarding. He believed that Shenzhen would be very safe. Therefore, he directly entered Hichu Luoshu and began to refine these angels to raise his cultivation level. This time, with the method given by the leader of the Great Void Tribe, Murong Yu didn't refine them directly. Instead, he planned to strip them of their divine abilities and cultivation comprehensions before refining them for his own. As for the energy corpses of the angels, he would leave them to the Chaos Furnace. After being refined by the Chaos Furnace, the power of the angels would be completely transformed into Murong Yu's power. It wouldn't change the structure of his body. In fact, even if Murong Yu directly devoured the power of the angels, the structure of his physical body wouldn't be changed. The power of the angels wasn't qualified to change the chaotic celestial bodies. Strip. Murong Yu gathered the power corpses of the 10 Virtue Realm angels in front of him and began to strip them of their power. Buzz. Under Murong Yu's efforts, traces of invisible things were continuously stripped from the bodies of these angels. These were the cultivation experiences, comprehension, and divine abilities of these angels. Chapter 2290. Murong Yu stripped away the insights and divine abilities that the angels produced from their cultivation, and then refined them, turning them into his own. Originally, first-layer Tao ancestor-level angels were already not enough for Murong Yu's realm to advance. Ordinary great Tao realm angels could only play a negligible role. However, after devouring the insights and divine abilities of these angels, coupled with the angel power of these angels, Murong Yu's realm was still advancing at a slow speed. Although the speed was not fast, there was an improvement after all. Moreover, these angels' insights and divine abilities allowed Murong Yu to comprehend the great Tao realm in advance, and his understanding of the great Tao realm became deeper and deeper. And as Murong Yu comprehended more and more, he was surprised to find that the power he needed to break through seemed to be decreasing. What was going on? Murong Yu quickly figured it out. This was because he had mastered it through a comprehensive study. In the past, when he did not comprehend much, he could only use a large amount of power to accumulate and break through the realm. And as he continued to comprehend, he gradually obtained a kind of effect of getting twice the result with half the effort. In fact, he had comprehended some tricks, just like the difference between brute force and skillful force. A brawny man could use brute force to shatter a 10,000-kilogram boulder, but others did not have such brute force, but they could use skillful force and other methods to shatter the 10,000-kilogram boulder. This 10,000-kilogram boulder was equivalent to Murong Yu's realm barrier. Rumble. When Murong Yu deprived these angels of their insights and divine abilities and refined them, he finally broke through. He reached the 8th level of Selfless Realm in one fell swoop. He was only one small realm away from the 9th level of Selfless Realm. However, even though Murong Yu comprehended a lot, he could not break through to a higher realm with the smallest amount of power. There was a limit. After consolidating his current realm and familiarizing himself with it, Murong Yu came out of the Hichu Luoshu. Feeling Murong Yu's powerful aura, Yu Yangjia, who had been waiting for Shenzhen, laughed. Junior brother, congratulations on breaking through to the 8th level of Selfless Realm. With this strength, you are already invincible under the Tao Ancestor Realm, right? Murong Yu nodded his head. Now that his strength had skyrocketed again, there was most likely no one below Tao Ancestor who was his match already. It was just that he was still not a match for a Tao Ancestor. Encountering a first-level Tao Ancestor, he could still only flee in defeat. In the current situation, without the battle prowess of a third-stage Tao Ancestor, he could only hide in Shenzhen. Otherwise, once he encountered a third-level Tao Ancestor, he would be in danger of dying at any time. Not bad. His foundation is stable and solid, just like someone who has only broken through after many years of bitter cultivation. Speaking of which, Master's method is really only suitable for you. Yu Yangjia sized up Murong Yu and suddenly sighed. Murong Yu looked at Yu Yangjia speechlessly. You were the one who gave me this cultivation method. Don't tell me you haven't cultivated it. It's precisely because I've cultivated it that I know it's only suitable for you. I'm not suitable at all. My physical body's capacity isn't that big, and it's easy to explode. Yu Yangjia said helplessly. You should be content. You're already a second-level Tao Ancestor. Murong Yu looked at Yu Yangjia with a contemptuous gaze. This guy really didn't know how to be content. He lamented in front of him who was only in the selfless realm. Truly, a well-fed man doesn't know the hunger of a starving man. Haha, that's right. I should be content. Yu Yangjia laughed and waved his hand. The next moment, 2 figures appeared in front of Murong Yu. These are the corpses of 2 second-level Tao Ancestors. Senior brother, where did you get them? Murong Yu couldn't help but be a little surprised. Yu Yangjia smiled. You're cultivating, but I can't fall behind. So I went to ambush an angel. I beheaded 2 second-level heavenly angels. I know you need the corpses of angels to cultivate divine techniques. So these 2 corpses are undamaged. Murong Yu couldn't help but feel warm in his heart. Although Yu Yangjia said it casually and indifferently, Murong Yu knew that Yu Yangjia's original intention wasn't just that. Yu Yangjia deliberately went to kill these 2 great angels so that Murong Yu could improve his realm. After all, although Yu Yangjia was also a second-level Tao Ancestor, and even though he was strong, it was easy to kill a second-level heavenly angel, but it was extremely difficult to leave the corpses undamaged. Well, we've been brothers for a while, and you're already like this. In the future, when your achievements are higher than senior brothers, just protect me. Yu Yangjia smiled and said indifferently. Murong Yu nodded heavily. He was a person who knew how to repay kindness. He remembered in his heart who treated him well. Moreover, he had received a drop of water from others, so he had to repay it with a gushing spring. From a mortal world until now, which one of Murong Yu's people didn't repay Murong Yu's kindness? Murong Yu made those who had helped him achieve great achievements that they didn't dare to imagine before. Junior brother, how many great angels do you need to break through to the initial Tao realm? In this situation, without the battle power of a Tao Ancestor, there's no place outside. Yu Yangjia's expression suddenly became serious. About 10 second-level great angels should be able to break through to the 9th level of the selfless realm. However, to break through from the peak of the selfless realm to the initial Tao realm, I'm afraid I'll need 3rd-level great angels. Murong Yu pondered for a moment and said with some hesitation, these were just conservative estimates. As for whether it could succeed, Murong Yu wasn't sure. Junior brother, you're really a big energy sink. Yu Yangjia's expression showed a painful expression. He could still get 2nd-level great angels in a certain amount of time. However, where could he get 3rd-level great angels? Even if there were 3rd-level great angels, he wouldn't be a match for them. 4th senior brother, I have a way to prevent me from breaking through to have the battle power of a 3rd-level Tao Ancestor. Murong Yu suddenly thought of a possibility and immediately said with some excitement. Yu Yangjia was stunned and looked at Murong Yu with a face full of doubts. Mecha Universe. Yu Yangjia suddenly understood. You want to seize mechas? Yu Yangjia also knew about Mecha Universe. Then he shook his head. Although the people in Mecha Universe aren't very strong and rely on mechas for everything. However, their mechas are just like our magical treasures. They are bound to their owners and are bound to them. They can summon mechas with just a thought. Unless we kill them before they summon their mechas, we can't seize their mechas. After a pause, Yu Yangjia continued. Moreover, their mechas have a self-destruct function. There's almost no chance for others to succeed in seizing them. Murong smiled. He naturally knew how difficult it was to seize mechas. However, it was also the only way to have the battle power of a third-level Dao ancestor when the realm was insufficient. No matter what, he had to give it a try. However, before he started, he had to break through to the initial Dao realm and have the battle power of a first-level Dao ancestor. Now, there were only 2 second-level angels' corpses. He needed at least 8 more to break through to the initial Dao realm. Now, he had enough comprehension. He only needed enough power to break through to the next realm. Senior brother, are you interested in hunting some angels? Murong looked at Yu Yangjia. There are no second-level angels in the nearby star fields. We can only go farther. However, during this process, we may encounter a third-realm Tao ancestor, Yu Yangjia said without any fear on his face. Then what are we waiting for? Let's go. Murong laughed and immediately soared into the sky, shooting toward the outskirts of Shenzhen. Yu Yangjia shook his head and followed behind. At this time, there were no more angels near Shenzhen. However, because of previous reasons, except for the starfields near Shenzhen that were relatively intact, many starfields were razed to the ground. Countless cultivators were killed. This made Murong hate those invaders even more. The angels had stopped sending troops. Or rather, they would not send troops for the time being. This was because 2 second-level angels had died. Even the angel universe could not bear such a loss. However, Murong and Yu Yangjia still quickly locked onto an angel army. There were countless angel powerhouses, but only 1 second-level angel. At this time, Murong and Yu Yangjia were hiding on an origin star. The second-level angel that they had locked onto was on an origin star in front of them. However, there were many Dao Realm and other angels on that origin star. Are we going to kill them directly? If we can't kill that second-level angel, we will be surrounded by the angels. At that time, we may not be able to escape. Yu Yangjia frowned. The angel universe was very different from other universes. Those great angels could instantly draw the power of nearby angels and use it on themselves. Hence, their strength would skyrocket. Previously, Yu Yangjia had almost suffered a great loss here. When he killed the second-level angel, he was unable to kill it in one blow. That second-level angel took the opportunity to draw the power of the entire angel army and use it on himself. At that time, that second-level angel's strength had almost broken through to the third-level angel realm. In the end, Yu Yangjia used a special method to kill him before he could reach the third-level angel realm. Otherwise, Yu Yangjia might have been the one to die. Along the way, Murong had already found out about this matter. Hence, he was very careful. Let's take a look first. Anyway, there's no rush. They won't leave. It's best if they all leave. Murong smiled. If that second-level angel wanted to leave, it would be their best chance. Hence, Murong and Yu Yangjia hid. Just like that, half a month passed in a flash. The angel army did not move at all. That second-level angel did not show any signs of moving. He had been cultivating in seclusion. This made Murong speechless. What should we do? Attack by force? Or should we look for our next target? Yu Yangjia asked as he looked at Murong. This time, he let Murong take the lead. Attack by force. Murong gritted his teeth. Maybe it was the same in other places? He did not have any more time to wait. However, even if they were to attack by force, Murong had to think of a comprehensive plan first. Formation projection. Chapter 2291. The Great Four Symbols formation was the formation that Murong had seized. However, The Four Symbols sect was just an ordinary force. The power of the Four Symbols Grand Formation that they created was too weak for Tao Ancestor Realm experts. However, Morong Yu had been studying the Great Four Symbols Formation during this time. At the same time, he was constantly strengthening the formation. Therefore, Morong Yu was confident that he could use it to deal with a second-level angel. Of course, Yu Yangjia had to be the one controlling the Great Four Symbols Formation. This was because the stronger the controller was, the more powerful the formation projection would be. There's such a formation? Yu Yangjia was shocked when he heard about the formation projection for the first time. The Great Void Tribe didn't lack anything, and there were many things that Morong Yu had never heard of. However, the Great Void Tribe didn't have such a projection formation. It was obvious that there were many strange people among the cultivators. Perhaps their cultivation level wasn't very high, but the things that they created might not be something that the top experts could think of. This was because the Great Four Symbols Formation had been completed long ago, and it only needed to be used. Yu Yangjia tried a few times and quickly mastered the Great Four Symbols Formation. Little junior brother, get ready. I'm going to start. After familiarizing himself with the formation projection, Yu Yangjia controlled the formation projection and shrouded the second-level angel in the distance. Whoosh! Almost silently, the formation projection had already submerged the heaven and earth within a radius of 100 million miles. For a moment, the submerged heaven and earth appeared to be white and misty. The angels were instantly startled by this sudden phenomenon. Then, they woke up one by one and remained vigilant. However, within the formation, both the formation and their vision were greatly affected. Let's do it! Yu Yangjia shouted and took the first step forward. In a flash, he appeared in the formation projection and quickly approached the second-level angel. Morong Yu followed closely behind Yu Yangjia and appeared in the formation projection. Boom! Boom! Almost at the same time, Morong Yu and Yu Yangjia made their moves. However, Yu Yangjia's target was the second-level angel, while Morong Yu's target was the angels below the Tao Ancestor level. Against a Tao Ancestor, Morong Yu simply did not have the strength. If he went to help, not only would he not be able to help, he might even drag Yu Yangjia down. Therefore, he focused all his firepower on the other angels. The current Morong Yu was no longer the same as before. His strength had already reached the peak of the Tao Lord realm, and he could be said to be the strongest expert below the Tao Lord realm. As a result, a large number of angels fell as they attacked. Even when they died, they didn't know how they died. Who killed them? Swish! Morong Yu's big hand suddenly reached out. The giant hand rapidly enlarged until it was as large as the sky. In an instant, countless angels were caught in Morong Yu's hand. Devour them all. Morong Yu roared in his heart and directly threw the captured angels who hadn't been killed yet into the chaos furnace. The primal chaos furnace began to tremble violently, causing the angels to let out blood-curdling screams one after another. They were completely powerless to resist as they were continuously refined into the purest form of energy that entered Morong Yu's meridians. Morong Yu's big hand continued to grab, and a large number of angels were devoured by him. In the end, Morong Yu even opened his mouth and sucked in the air. Whoosh! The angels were unable to resist at all and were all devoured. In the end, they were all refined by Morong Yu and became a part of his strength. Even if these ordinary angels were devoured by hundreds of millions, it wouldn't have any significant effect on Morong Yu's strength. At first, Morong Yu couldn't be bothered to devour them. However, wherever these angels passed, the sacred cosmos would be turned into a wasteland. Countless cultivators and their homes would be destroyed. This was intolerable to Morong Yu. For every angel he killed, there would be one less cultivator in the sacred cosmos. Therefore, he was absolutely merciless. As long as he saw an angel, there was only one word: kill. Because this was the angel barracks, there were trillions of angels stationed within a radius of 100 million kilometers. Therefore, when Morong Yu killed and devoured all these angels, his strength still increased by quite a bit. From quantitative to qualitative change. When Murong-yu cleared out the ordinary angels, the battle on Yu Yangjia's side had already ended. With the help of the projection, the second stage angel was like a blind man. Yu Yangjia didn't even have to lift a finger before he was easily killed. At this moment, Murong-yu had already obtained 3 great angel corpses. After killing 7 more great angels, Murong-yu could break through to a higher realm, the 9th level of the selfless realm. After cleaning up the battlefield a little, Murong-yu and Yu Yangjia left and continued to search for their next target. In fact, apart from the tears of angels, the other items of angels weren't suitable for cultivators of the sacred cosmos. This was because the magic treasures, pills, techniques, and so on of angels all had the characteristics of angels. The reason why they couldn't be used was because they had to clean up the battlefield. However, Murong-yu could use them. Moreover, Murong-yu didn't want these spoils of war to be taken back by the other angels. It was better to refine them himself. With the help of the formation's projection, Murong-yu and Yu Yangjia's subsequent actions were as smooth as ever. He had easily killed 7 level 2 angels. As for the other great angels, there were countless of them. And these angels all had the same doubts. They didn't even know how they died. Moreover, because of the formation projection, they couldn't send out messages. Therefore, the other angels only knew that these angels had been completely wiped out, but didn't know why. It was because of this that Murong-yu and Yu Yangjia's following actions were so smooth. We finally gathered 10 second-level angels. Junior brother, when are we going to break through? After gathering 10 second-level angels, Murong-yu and Yu Yangjia didn't continue to move. With the fall of a large number of angels, the angels were already vigilant. Often, several armies were stationed together, and several second-level angels were also nearby to take care of each other. In this way, it increased the difficulty of Murong-yu and Yu Yangjia's actions. After all, although Yu Yangjia's strength was strong, if he was surrounded by a few second-level angels, it was still quite dangerous, even with the formation projection. 10 second-level angels, plus the accumulation of this period of time, should be enough for me to break through to the 9th level of selfless realm. Murong-yu pondered for a moment and said slowly. Yu Yangjia nodded slightly. Then you go and break through the realm. I'll guard you outside. After you break through, we'll go and hunt 3rd-level Dao ancestors to help you break through to the initial Dao realm. Murong-yu nodded and didn't say anything. He went straight into Hichu Luoshu to cultivate. Deprive. Murong-yu didn't directly refine these second-level angels, but chose to deprive them of their comprehension, magical powers, and so on. Of course, in the process of depriving, he didn't forget to refine these second-level angels. 1, 2, 3. The power contained in second-level angels was indeed no small matter. It was far from what first-level angels could compare to. If the power contained in first-level angels was compared to 1, then the power of second-level angels was 10,000, or even higher. In other words, second-level Dao ancestors were at least 10,000 times stronger than first-level Dao ancestors, or even stronger. Every time he devoured a second-level angel, Murong-yu's realm rapidly soared. However, as he devoured more and more second-level angels, Murong-yu's expression became more and more unsightly. There was only 1 second-level angel left that hadn't been devoured. However, Murong-yu's realm was still stuck at the peak of the 8th level. Murong-yu could even clearly feel that even if he devoured this last second-level angel, his realm might not be able to break through. He needed more archangels. He needed more power. Continue devouring. Murong-yu didn't hesitate and continued to devour. Sure enough, after devouring the last archangel, he was still unable to break through to the 9th level of selfless realm. He was still lacking. Senior brother, my power is still not enough. I need more power. Sitting cross-legged in the outside world, Murong-yu's voice suddenly sounded in Yu Yangjia's ears. Still not enough? Yu Yangjia frowned slightly. Then we can only continue. We can't give up halfway, right? Murong-yu laughed and grabbed Hichu Luoshu with one hand, while the other hand soared into the sky. There are 5 second-level angels in the angel army ahead. If you can kill them all, you should be able to break through. Although killing 5 second-level angels is a bit difficult, it's not impossible. Saying so, Yu Yangjia had already launched the 4 symbols Great Formation. Rumble, after a loud sound, the angel army ahead was immediately enveloped by the projection of the formation. The advantage of the projection was that although the angels inside the projection knew that they were enveloped by the formation, they couldn't destroy the formation. Because what they destroyed was not the formation at all. As long as the true formation wasn't destroyed, the projection of the formation wouldn't be affected. Kill! Yu Yangjia roared and locked onto a second-level angel, taking the lead to attack. Murongyu didn't fall behind and started to madly slaughter the angels below the Tao ancestor level. Courting death. When Yu Yangjia rushed near the second-level angel he had locked onto, he was greeted with a furious roar. At the same time, 5 extremely powerful attacks tore through the sky and bombarded Yu Yangjia. The 5 second-level angels attacked Yu Yangjia at the same time. Yu Yangjia was caught unprepared. In a hurry, he could only raise his power to the limit and passively defend. Rumble, after a loud sound, Yu Yangjia was sent flying. In the process, he spat out blood. Although he was strong, he was ultimately no match for the 5 second-level angels. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.